Points appear to be falling flat.
Recent polling has revealed that most Americans do not believe President Donald Trump wields too much power. Many respondents felt that Trump either has a reasonable amount of power or too little, contrary to claims made by some Democrats. The data has challenged the narrative that Trump acts like a king, recently pointed out by CNN analyst Harry Enton. Enton stated, quote, Americans largely do not believe Democrats' claim that President Donald Trump is behaving like a king, adding that the majority of Americans think that the president either does not have enough power or has the perfect amount of power.
Correspondent Bernie Bennett. A devastating side effect of the COVID pandemic is fading.
A report in the journal Cancer offers what its authors call reassuring data. The report says delays in cancer screenings at the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, when doctors and hospitals were overwhelmed, are not showing a huge impact on cancer statistics. Death rates are continuing to decline, and there's no huge shift evident in late diagnoses. In 2020, as the pandemic began, a greater share of cancers in the U.S. were caught at later stages when they're harder to treat. But in 2021, such worrisome diagnoses returned to pre-pandemic levels for most types of cancer. I'm Ben Thomas.
The Supreme Court hears arguments today from a group of Maryland parents who want their kids to be opted out of LGBTQ story time. The school board quit notifying the parents about books on gender transitioning and drag queens. On Wall Street, ahead of this morning's opening bell, the stock futures in positive territory, and Dow futures are up almost 350 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
You having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
With Progressive, it's easy to reach customer service with our app, website, chat, or by phone. Because when getting help is hard, it's not help at all.
Little help. A little help over here.
Thank you for calling Bench Press Assistance.
What?
Due to excessive gym volume, all available spotters are currently lifting heavy weights off the chests of other bench pressers.
Seriously?
Please continue to hold, and we will remove the barbell from your chest in the order in which your cry for help was received.
Getting assistance should be easy. With Progressive, it is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliate.
The Vatican announces the schedule for the final rites of the late Pope Francis.
It all kicks off tomorrow when the coffin of Pope Francis, an open casket, will be moved to St. Peter's Basilica, and it will lie there in state for mourners and the faithful to come and see his body and pay their respects until Saturday morning, when the funeral will happen at 10 a.m. local time. It will take place in St. Peter's Basilica. There will be dignitaries, heads of state from across the world. Pope Francis will then not be buried in the Vatican. He has said that he wants to actually be buried in quite a simple ceremony on the other side of Rome at the Basilica Santa Maria Maggiore.
The BBC's Mark Lowen says the Pope died yesterday at the age of 88. Vice President Vance has held talks with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi as New Delhi looks to avoid U.S. tariffs, negotiating a bilateral trade deal with the U.S. Townhall.com. A sea change in the world of college athletics.
The NCAA has passed rules that would upend decades of precedent by allowing colleges to pay their athletes per terms of a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit settlement expected to go into effect this summer. The 9 proposals passed by the NCAA board were largely expected, but still mark a defining day in the history of college sports. For the NCAA rules to officially go into effect, the changes prescribed by the House settlement still have to be granted final approval by a federal judge. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
4 House Democrats have traveled to El Salvador to show of support for Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Living in the U.S. illegally, the suspected MS-13 gang member was deported by the Trump administration last month. Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland was the first Democrat to make the trip to El Salvador to see Garcia. More on these stories, townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The demolition, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Yes, welcome to it.
Oh, I got to turn your...
It's like I got nothing.
Is that better?
Yeah, I was concerned. I mean, I know as long as they can hear it, it's fine, but...
Oh, yesterday I was hearing things I didn't want to hear, and I was hearing through the headphones, so I was like, get down.
None of you here.
But happy Tuesday, everybody.
Yes, happy Tuesday. Happy Earth Day.
Yeah, that's right. That is today.
It is.
Absolutely. And happy Caps 1-0 series lead day.
Nice. Nice.
They done give me a little heart attack, but they because they won 3-2 in overtime.
Oh, wow.
They were up 2-0 going into the third period. Montreal rallied and tied it up and took it into overtime. And then,
dang. So they made it a game.
And then Ovechkin said, not my house.
Nah.
Put it in overtime. So.
That's funny. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, they should win this series. They are the 1 seed.
Yeah.
On the east side.
When all is said and done. So now that he's broken the record, he just keeps adding on to it, right? So his number just keeps growing.
And he's probably, I don't know if he's chasing the points record or because he got the goal scoring record.
Right.
Then there's the points record, and points is when you add the goals scored with assists. You can get accredited with an assist if you help someone score a goal.
Gotcha.
Up to 2 people can get an assist.
Okay.
So when they add that together, the assists and goals, that's their points.
Gotcha. All right.
Gretzky still holds that one.
So Gretzky does still have some some skin in the game.
Oh, yeah. Gretzky, man. I mean...
Well, of course. He's
like
American
the guy, basically all the records he broke, Gordie Howe, still Gordie Howe.
When I was a kid, I was not a sports kid, but there were certain people I knew. Like before I was even into wrestling, you knew who Hulk Hogan was.
Sure.
You knew who
Michael Jordan
was. I actually used to, Bulls was my favorite team, technically, just because I liked the logo.
Right.
Because the bull had blood.
He won the starter jacket.
Yeah.
Y'all didn't probably get into starter jackets around here.
Oh, did we ever?
Okay, I didn't know we got cold enough
did
around
we
here.
ever? Yeah, of course. Starter jackets were a huge thing here.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal. If you didn't have the starter, what I had was a pullover, which was a bummer.
I had the cardigan.
That is yeah, right. I just had the sweater vest starter. What a bummer though, having the pullover, because you can't do that cool zip and have it open or even flip it off.
Nah.
You got to be like, I'm gonna pull this thing off, thusly pulling my shirt up, exposing my fat belly to everybody in the room.
Plus, I think the puffiness of the starters.
Yeah, it's not quite the same.
That was part of the allure.
But I will say the one thing that my starter jacket had that most didn't, because they had to deal with the zipper. I had the kangaroo pouch.
Oh.
So I had the all the way across pocket. That was nice.
Yeah. See, nowadays that's popular because everyone's wearing hoodies.
You can do a little twiddling.
Yeah.
It's nice.
My papoose.
Toss a ball around. It's a nice space to
Shake
have.
hands with yourself.
That's right.
Thumb wrestle yourself.
Start your own thumb war.
I like to carry bananas in there.
Because you never know. You never know when you might need a
eyeglass
banana.
cases, various long things I just throw in there. Foot long hot dogs, I put them in there too.
Oh, I saw a video that absolutely infuriated me. So, and it was funny too because the video, as you go, it's interspersed with people going, man, like disgusted.
Uh-huh.
It's this vegan, obviously vegan woman.
Okay.
Okay, so what she does, the video starts with her cleaning a carrot. She's cleaning off a carrot, and then she trims it down, peel it down to a cylindrical size. Then she sets it on top of a hot dog bun, chops off the ends. Okay? Then she takes these carrots and goes and soaks them in this liquid. like marinates them or whatever.
Tallow.
Then it cuts to, I'm guessing it's like a soy blend or whatever. Then it cuts to her grilling these carrots. Like shows them in the pan, grilling up and all that. And then she has the audacity. First, she boils them first. Then she marinates them. I left that part out. Then she marinates them so they are soft. But then she fries, and she has the audacity to put them on buns and put hot dog toppings on top of them. There were two, and there was obviously somebody behind the camera who was, I don't know if he had a gun to his head or not, but I feel like he did. He took a bite of this thing, which had an audible snap to it, so it's still a carrot.
And they gave the,
This is great. She goes, this is the best hot dog I've ever had in my life. I wanted to throw my phone.
Yeah.
I wanted to throw my phone.
There is no... I mean, look, if you want to do that, God bless you. But there is nowhere, any realm, any dimension, any multiverse that a hot dog and a carrot are mixed up for.
And you have to understand, I was keto for like a solid year.
Yeah.
I lived under the assumed disbelief that cauliflower was as good as rice. And it can be.
Put it this way, that's way closer than a hot dog and a carrot.
Yeah, that is egregious, if I may.
Yeah.
Oh, that is egregious.
I mean, for a minute, I could pretend the rice is just weirdly cooked.
Right.
With the cauliflower. But there ain't nobody saying, this carrot does taste like a hot dog. There's no way.
It is kind of hard to excuse the fart smell in your kitchen when you're cooking anything cauliflower for 35 minutes.
My point is that all that work she did, I'm sure she made the carrot less nutritious. What's the point?
Added sodium and added.
Yeah, it's not like it's healthier. You're just basically making it less healthy. Mm-hmm. On the guise that it's healthier than the original thing.
You've
and then
literally
it's like, really?
violated a carrot.
Yeah. Like, by the way, Impossible Burgers, if you're looking for health, there ain't nothing healthy about Impossible Burger.
No.
It's just full of hot garbage. It's not meat.
I'll put it this way. I actually enjoy the Impossible Whopper from Burger King.
Yeah, they don't taste bad, but they're not healthy.
There's a reason for that. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't taste bad, but if you think they're healthy,
soybeans are technically vegetables, but
you're a crackhead if you think you're eating healthy on one of those bad boys.
Still, it's nice to know that I'm having, a little bit of an impact. Right. Yeah, that's what it is.
Just eat a burger.
No, I mostly did it for the just for the taste comparison, and I got to tell you, it's pretty close.
Yeah, like when I went to the Grand Canyon a couple years ago, this food truck would sit in front of the hotel we stayed at. And they had hot dogs, but they had one burger, but it was an Impossible Burger. And I said, well, all right, this is the time I bite the bullet and try an Impossible Burger. And I was not disappointed.
Yeah,
I was like, if you would have not told me, I probably would have never guessed. I probably would have never, I might have said a little different, but I would have never thought it was.
different chew.
Yeah, but I would have never thought it was not meat.
And that's the thing is once you know, you go looking. Yeah. You go trying to spot. And if you don't know, you could get away with it.
Like if they didn't tell me, they said, here's a burger, and they handed it to me, I probably would have. Not thought two things about it. Yeah. All right, burger.
All right, burger. What's up?
Let me give you that rundown for today's show. I believe Jim's in our green room. I guess you call that
technically it's white, but it's I think it's like an eggshell.
Yeah. We'll just go with lobby.
Yeah, lobby.
Jim Tucker's in our lobby. Skyward weather coordinator for Chaves County, and wants to invite everybody out to the Chaves County Flood Risk Resiliency Workshop that's going to be happening here next week on the 29th. So we'll talk about that with him. And you don't care about flooding till it happens.
That's right.
Now you really care about flooding.
So now let's get educated.
That's right.
So the next century flood, we're in the know.
Yeah, or next time someone spits and how that works.
I mean, it is part of internally, I do want to look at him and go, thanks, Captain Hindsight. But
well, it will come around again.
Yeah, of course.
We do have a whole board
It's where we
and
live.
everything.
We live in the weather dome.
We have a dam and no river. So what did I tell you? In the 8 o'clock hour, about 8:15, we're gonna replay an interview we had back on the 14th with the folks from Bush Appliance. Had a great conversation with those guys. Had some fun and learned about all the different things they're providing for folks.
Yes,
pretty much they could build you a house. I think.
It's turned into carpentry at this point.
Yeah. And then you can put a refrigerator in when you're done.
Everything will be flush, too.
That's right. Exactly.
It's a big deal to them.
There's not a unraised surface anywhere in this house.
Look at this. Look at this. Roll a marble. Just roll a marble.
Even the stairs are even. Flush. They're flat. And then finally, in the 9 o'clock hour, we're going to have Elliot Rodriguez with Loan Depot join us, give us a visit, his monthly visit, and talk houses, talk real estate, all that good stuff.
Not houses. The money to get the house.
Yeah.
Getting the money
That's
to
right.
get the house.
That's right. So, talking about the house.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. But anyway, plus we'll have all of your news of the local, national, variety, Wall Street business update, and whatever else we can come up with. Before we do any of that, a look at your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty nice today. We'll be in the mid-80s on the afternoon high. The wind should stay fairly light. We've got a big high-pressure system parked overhead, so we get sunshine through the day. Clear for the overnight hours, and we're in the mid-50s, and then a mix of sun and clouds in the morning on Wednesday, but sunny in the afternoon. The wind will pick up a little bit, 15 to 25 miles an hour, and tomorrow's high in the upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 50 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 30%. Winds are calm at the moment. They give us the term isolated sprinkles for today and tonight. They say isolated sprinkles after 3 today. But sunny and warm. We're going to hit 87 for a high today, so this is going to be rather warm out. Winds will be out of the southeast, 10 to 15 miles per hour. More of those isolated sprinkles till about 9 p.m. this evening. Increasing clouds with an overnight low of 55. South winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. I think areas around the state have good rain chances. We're just not one of them. So we get isolated sprinkles. Wednesday, partly cloudy, then gradually becoming full-on sunny. Once again, another warm day, high of 88 tomorrow. And winds will be out of the south, 10 to 20 miles per hour. Thursday, sunny and 88 once again. South winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. Remember how yesterday I was telling you about had good rain chances, and then by mid-end week it'll start dissipating? Well, it's already Tuesday, and the dissipating's already beginning. Friday night, we're down to a 20% chance of showers before midnight. Partly cloudy, overnight low 57, and a 30% chance at showers on Saturday. Partly cloudy, 87 for a high there. And then it's going to be warm on Sunday, sunny and 90. So it's like a warm roller coaster. Like it's a little, but it's like 80s and 90s now instead of 50s and whatever. So, but anyway, it's more of that. And I'm going to take a good stab that by Thursday this week, all that rain chance at all during this weekend will be just gone altogether. So, but you can dream right now. All right, 7:19. Let's do this. Let's take a quick commercial break. Actually, we'll get you into your Roswell Livestock Report with Smiley Wooten. Since Sunday was Easter, they moved the auction to today. So you'll get the report for today's auction and then the recap tomorrow. So it got pushed back a day because of the Easter holiday. But we'll do Smiley's report, quick break, and then on the other side, Jim Tucker, Skywarn Weather Coordinator, will join us talking about the meeting up next Tuesday. Don't go away.
Good morning, this is Smiley Wooten at the Roswell Livestock Auction, a lighter Tuesday run following Easter Sunday, but a nice selection of all classes of cattle, especially high-quality native calves, light yearlings, pairs, bred cows. We expect to sell 550 head, break it down like this: 50 to 75 weight cows and bulls, 70 to 80 pairs of bred cows, 425 calves and yearlings. Today's sale will include 18 cow-calf pairs and 10 bred cows from Mr. Jonathan Robertson, Glenwood, New Mexico. Ex-quality, mostly black white-faced Angus crossbred cows with Angus calves. Cows 4 to 7 years old, 23 bred cows. Randy Elkins, Artesia, X-quality black, white face, red, white face, English crossbred cows, mostly third trimester bred to Angus bulls, 5 to 10 years old, 25 calves. Mr. Henry McDonald, Loving, New Mexico, X-quality black, white face, red, white face, English crossbred calves, Bovill Gold, 7-way, medium condition, 450. 550 pounds, 36 calves. Ross Duncan Properties, Artesia, New Mexico. Excellent quality black, white face, Brangus cross calves, cattle weighing 50 days. 2 rounds of shots, 575, 700 pounds. 19 calves. 16 Springs Ranch, Mayhill, New Mexico. Excellent quality black Angus calves, cattle weighing 60 days. 1 round of shots, 450, 600 pounds. 40 calves and light yearlings, Kincaid Brothers. Pinon, New Mexico, good quality black, white face, Brangus crosses, cattle weaned, 1 round of shots, thin to medium condition, 450, 700 pounds. 16 yearling heifers, Jonathan Robertson, Glenwood, excellent quality black Angus heifers, cattle weaned 100 plus days, 1 round of shots, 550, 650 pounds. 24 calves, Mr. Kenneth Heritage, Fort Stockton, Texas, good quality, mostly black, white face crossbred cattle weaned, shots, 350, 500 pounds. 22 calves, the Baylor Ranch, Sierra Blanca, Texas. Excellent quality black Angus and Brangus crosses, thin to medium condition, 400, 550 pounds. 18 calves, Mr. Jim SB, Fort Davis, Texas. Excellent quality black, white face, Angus cross calves, thin to medium condition, 350, 500 pounds. And 18 calves, Garland Reed, Jowl, New Mexico. Excellent quality black Angus cross calves, Bovill Gold, 7-way. Some of these are sure enough roping size cattle, 175, 275 pounds. Sale time this morning 9 o'clock. Sale pairs bred cows 9:30. Be selling calves and yearlings about 9:45 to 10 o'clock. Very light on weigh cows and bulls. Be on pairs and bred cows pretty darn quick. We expect to sell 550 head today. This is Smiley Wooten, Roswell Livestock Auction.
Spring has sprung, so it's time to move on into the Calico Cow Fabric and Gift Shop in Roswell. Now the Cow is an authorized handy quilter long-arm dealer. Spring fabrics are here and summer fabrics are arriving daily, plus quilts, shirts, and rope bowls made right here at the Calico Cow. Brother sewing machines with warranties are also on sale. Plus, the Calico Cow can fix and perform maintenance on all brands. Log on to RoswellQuilting.com. Spring into the Calico Cow Fabric and Gift Shop, 200 East College in Roswell. Want to know how? Come see the cow.
Hey, Roswell, during these unprecedented times when others are raising prices, Roswell Ford is lowering ours with employee pricing for everyone. So you pay what we pay. Only at Roswell Ford. Make no payments for 90 days. Upside down in your current vehicle and want out early? Roswell Ford can help you get out of your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth, regardless of make, miles, or condition. So you can pay what we pay today with employee pricing to all customers on new Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs. And our aggressive finance team will push to approve your credit, even if it's less than perfect. Attention business owners, Roswell Ford has a great selection of commercial vehicles, and we have them for less. Plus, Roswell Ford offers mobile services, so our certified technicians will come to you and perform oil changes, tire rotations, batteries, recalls, and more. Contact us for details. For massive American-made savings and employee pricing for everyone. Get on board at Roswell Ford, 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell. Call 575-623-3673 or online at roswellford.com. Interest accrues from date of sale on select vehicles. Trade balance refinanced to new loan subject to lender approval. Offers not combined. Expires at month's end.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Bamboo plants can grow up to 36 inches in a day. So if you're told you're growing like a weed, you can say, no, I'm growing like a bamboo. Here's Mike Winters.
Try it on family. See how they think of that. Good morning. It is 24 minutes after 7 o'clock. And joining us in studio, Jim Tucker's back with us, Sky Warm Weather Coordinator for Chavez County. Morning, Jim.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Good, doing great. Just kicking along.
Kicking along, doing your thing. Well, I'm going to guess there's certain times of year you're a very popular man. You know, when the clouds start like this, like we'll be getting a monsoon season here and stuff. So I imagine you got a lot of your friends are like, all right, Jim, give me the skinny. What's going on?
Oh yeah. I'm a Skywarn coordinator. I'm a severe weather spotter coordinator for ham radio operators. But suddenly I become the regional expert.
That's right.
Everybody.
What's Jim say? All right.
I don't know. I haven't even looked at the forecast today. I don't know. But I will say one thing though. Next time I see 3 to 5 inches of rain forecast, I'm going to take that seriously.
That's right. Yeah, that one you're going to say. pay attention to this one.
Yeah, because I mean, often you look at it and it's Travis County Plains can expect 1 to 2 inches or whatever, and that can be, if it comes quick enough in a short period of time, that can be a little concern. But I saw 3 to 5 inches and I thought, ooh, that's a lot of rain. And then when it started becoming a reality, it's like, this is scary. This is for real.
This is one of those national TV moments right here, and it turned out to be one of those where you see those things on the Weather Channel and all that. And it's speaking of that flood and everything, for folks that are not familiar, every year Jim hosts and is part of a basically a Skywarn weather class that kind of teaches people how to be Skywarn spotters. Which, when severe weather hits the area, these individuals kind of give reports of what they're seeing in their neighborhood, and they give this back to the National Weather Service, and they use that to track storms, to warn people on what's going on, especially in places where we don't get all the satellite coverage, like in the cities and everything else that, they've got a lot of imagery and satellites, and us, we don't get as much equipment that's measuring the weather around here. So a lot of the information is boots on the ground, eyewitness reports of what's going on. And so every year Jim has classes where, invite folks to come learn that stuff. If you want to be a Skywarn weather spotter, then awesome. If you just want the gee whiz information for your own personal, then that's great too. But this year we've kind of amended that class because of our flooding the last time we had here. And now we're talking a little about flood risk and educating people on, some of the risks and some of the things you can do to kind of maybe circumnavigate some of the damage and things like that.
Exactly, yeah, because when it's when you're talking about this much water, you're going to have damage. There's no way of getting around it.
Sure.
You're going to have a risk of life and property and stuff. But we can do certain things to kind of help mitigate that to some effect. Mm-hmm. And again, if I had realized, I'm sitting here watching. I just got to tell you a little story. When this event's starting to unfold,
gotcha,
on October the 19th, it was around 7 o'clock, and it really started 7 p.m. and it really started coming down. Well, I was off that night, so I'm sitting at my console at home, and I've got the Weather Service. I'm in the Albuquerque room. They've got they're on the Slack platform now, which is really cool. It's kind of almost like a Facebook platform.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can.
So there's social back and forth
in real time. Yes,
nice.
Sir.
Okay.
Upload videos, upload images, all this kind of thing, and then you watch for their warnings and watches and advisories coming back to you.
So it's like the modern version of a walkie-talkie almost, but much more powerful.
Oh yeah, much more powerful. And then I can be right there with my spotters on the radio and talk to them, and we can exchange that information in real time. So it really works out great. But I'm on there, and I'm also watching my weather station. And, anything over 1 inch per hour is considered severe.
Okay.
Well, I'm watching my weather station. It's starting to kick up to 2 and sometimes over 3 inches per hour.
Ooh.
Now, the problem is, if that happens for 5 or 10 minutes and then goes back down, which it usually does. In fact, I've never seen it over 3 inches per hour. Yeah. But I'm watching it up over 3 inches per hour, and it's staying there for so long over the period of an hour going into the second hour. I'm tapping on the weather.
So you think is it broke?
I'm thinking that my ambient is broke. And I'm like, holy cow, what is this? So after a while, when I go out there and I see the water starting to creep up to the threshold of the door and starting to creep into the carpet in the front room, I'm like, I'm starting to get a little concerned. Mm-hmm. So I kind of, I had to kind of, put the other stuff aside and focus on
personal house
home fires.
Yeah.
Of course, at that time, we weren't really prepared. And like I said, there was 3 to 5 inches in the forecast. And it just didn't. I thought, oh, that's a lot of rain.
It was literally the storm of the century that happened.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And hoping we don't see that again in our lifetime. But it's. I mean, odds are we're seeing something. Maybe not that to that level, but I'm going to take a stab that every 5 to 6 years we have a good rainstorm that does cause some flooding here.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe not to the level of what we just experienced. But I remember about 5-6 years ago before that, the South End, I think, got a couple inches overnight. And well, you know how that is. Once the South End gets any kind of rain, it's a standing water situation down there. So.
Well, yeah. And then one time we have some people up on the northeast quadrant, and a storm came through there that produced over an inch an hour. And in fact, I think it went over 2 inches for a little while.
Yeah.
And Holly Loop. If anybody's familiar with that particular street, it comes off of, I think, Mission Arch or something like that. It comes down and makes a loop and then goes back up. Well, at the bottom of that loop, it's low. And there was one drainage thing there, and I think they've put in 2 now to help mitigate that.
Sure.
But when that clogs up with debris, which washes down from the...
Probably doesn't take very long during a flood or rising water situation.
It does. It goes up, and there's several houses in there it goes up into. And I want to tell you something else, too, about the cinder block walls in a little bit, but we'll cover that in a little bit. But, yeah, it just... there's just certain areas that are prone to it, just the way they're built, and nobody ever really saw it, and that's another thing too. I mean, the design of things like we have levees, we have the twin dams out here, and all that has helped to mitigate flooding in Roswell to some degree. You remember seeing some of those pictures around town, the black and whites in frames of downtown Roswell.
Oh, yeah, the floods.
They're always got 1 or 2 feet
Go
of
to the
water
historical
in there.
site. They got a bunch of those pictures over there.
Yeah, absolutely. But and since then, it hasn't been nearly that bad.
And that's because of that the dam and the levees out there that are that's why I was making the joke earlier. I said, we got a dam and no river. What's that tell you about
Yeah, but I tell you, it's just you can have so much of a volume of water that I don't care how well you design it. If you get more than that, what that's designed, and it's usually designed for that amount plus a fudge factor.
Gotcha.
But you go with that fudge factor, and it's just not going.
Yeah, and that's really what happened here last year. Was it was that storm of the century that you can build the biggest levees, the biggest things, but the mouse will find a way to get out of the trap, and that's what happened on this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's gonna but here's the thing. This is why a class like this is important. Is like, hey, let's maybe you survived okay on this one, and you didn't get all right. Well, let's take a look around your property. Let's learn the things that could cause problems when these floodings start, and look at the things that might actually save you bacon when floods start, and let's do those kind of things. And so it sounds like this class is going to be a lot of that kind of stuff that's kind of, hey, when you hear these reports, these are some of the things that, I mean, it doesn't rain off enough where you got to keep a steady supply of sandbags sitting in your house or nothing like that. But, once every 4 or 5 years, we have these doozies here, and there's a lot of things around your property that can help and hurt. And I don't want to be one of these folks, but when you live out in the county and you've got all the junk and everything on your property, that makes it 10 times worse than a flood in this kind of thing.
Well, it really does, because that not only can create a fire hazard in a wildfire situation, but when those floodwaters rise up and take that, and they don't just rise, they flow. That's where my neighborhood was. It was a river flowing.
Yeah, your building is in the middle of a river is what's going on.
Exactly. And when you have all this debris, now it's going to go downstream and it's going to tear some stuff up even worse.
And I'm going to tell you right now, when we were doing the flooding, some of the reports of some of the nasty that was coming on down in these rivers, I mean, it just, I'm pretty sure there were some hazardous, unhealthy situations with a lot of this stuff. And all that stems from crap you're leaving on your property, and this thing comes through. And so I'm not saying, I get it, clean up your cars, clean up, but you know what? Making getting rid of some clutter that you don't need might make it just a little bit safer for you if we do have another one of these situations.
Well, sure, and it's just like any kind of preparation. I mean, we're not trying to prepare for the apocalypse and how to repopulate the world when we start over again, but I mean, some may. But the point is, we have to be prepared for a lot of things 30, 60, 90 days out.
Absolutely.
And, you don't have to go out and spend a lot of money one day. You don't have to go out and think, I need to get better. But, a little here and there, just kind of think about it in the back of your mind. What would I do if I had to bug out? Or what would I do if this happened or that happened? We live right next to the Rio Grande Rift that runs right down the center of New Mexico. And that thing's been stretching and pulling apart for, many, many years.
Sure.
But who's to say that doesn't, we get the little tremors here once in a while, which, some could argue, I guess, comes from the oil field.
That's what they're doing. Yeah, most people speculate fracking in Texas there, but but either way, who knows? That could it's one of those things that we deal with here in southeast New Mexico.
Sure. So just little practical things like keeping your property somewhat arranged, keeping the weeds down around your property for fires, because they dry out and that kind of thing. So,
yeah, all that's bad business. But But what we want to do is, in lieu of a Skywarn spotter class, we would love to invite the public to come out for a county flood risk and resiliency workshop. Now, it'll be at the Daniels Leadership Center, much like the spotter classes were each year. It'll be next Tuesday, the 29th. There'll be 2 classes, kind of like the Skywarn spotter class, and the exact same class, whether you come to the early one or the later one. But we'd love to invite folks to come on out and be a part of it. It's going to be, like I said, the Daniels Leadership Center, 3:30, and then again at 6:30 there on the 29th. And it doesn't cost anything or anything like that?
No pre-registration.
Don't even have to
anything.
pre-register,
No.
just show on up.
Just
Don't even have to
show on up,
RSVP or anything like that.
Correct.
But I think you might want to make plans to try to attend one of these, especially if you live out in the county or live in a place, like if you were impacted by the flood, odds are, if it floods again, you're going to deal with the exact same thing. You know, I mean,
Exactly.
land is land, and how it does what it does against water, and everything else is going to do the same thing again next time.
Yeah, that's it. And I don't think, I just don't know anymore. I mean, regardless of what your ideas are on the causal elements of it, the weather patterns, I think, have changed.
Yeah.
And they are changing. So we don't know if it's going to be another 100 years. I doubt it.
Yeah,
I really don't. But anyway,
and that's just it. It's just, well, I mean, I've lived in New Mexico, here in Roswell particularly, for 25 years now. I moved here in 2000, and coming from not growing up in this environment, the weather where I grew up is way different than how it is out here in New Mexico. Now, that being said, I've spent almost more time out here than I have in Maryland. Where I'm at in my life now, but I can tell you that I have seen the most extreme weather here. Like I've been involved in hurricanes and everything else back east, but nothing has scared me weather-wise like things I've seen out here.
Interesting.
It's real interesting. Even like Goliath. I remember as a kid, the winter storm was 78, and at the end of the day, we got about 2 feet of snow. I would have never imagined me experiencing something similar here in Roswell, New Mexico.
Right.
And boy howdy, I sure did experience it. Flooding. I've never seen hail. I've never experienced hail the sizes here that I've never seen. They talk about it back east, but at the end of the day, I think I've seen pea size in all my time out there. I've never seen nothing that's going to intimidate you. Out here, I'm seeing baseballs dropping from the sky, and I'm like, good God, that's going to kill somebody.
Yeah.
And everything's just extreme out here. I'm not going to lie. The first time I saw a tarantula coming up, my God, your bugs are even crazy.
At least we don't live in Australia.
Yeah, right. Really. And so you deal with extremes here, and you live in the desert. So extremes happen. Extreme heat, extreme wind. And when it does rain, it's going to all come at once. That's just how it works around here. And so we live in an extreme climate. You're going to have to be prepared for those types of things. So as a homeowner, I would definitely invest some time to try to come to one of these 2 workshops and nothing else. Learn some of the things you need to look at your own property about and think, because maybe you got lucky this time.
Sure.
But, depending on, parameters and things, it could be your stretch of the woods next time that gets that kind of thing. And obviously, if you live near the river, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You're playing a crapshoot here. It's going to be a matter of time before that thing rises again, and it's going to be impacted.
Yeah, and see, in my neighborhood of Tilden, Albuquerque, Alameda, that Hendricks, all along in there, west side. That's not even real. I mean, the only thing we have is like a little culvert down by Hendricks, I think, where Stiles Field is.
And you get any kind of rain, it feels quick, probably.
Oh yeah. And but I mean, that river running through there was like 3 or 4 blocks wide.
Ooh.
And I was fortunate.
You could drive a boat down that thing.
Yeah. A friend asked me to go check on another friend 1 block over, and I'm walking across to Alameda because I'm going to take my car out there and get flood. And I could feel the pull.
The current.
I'm only in about a foot of water. So it can be devastating.
Oh yeah, that's the thing too. This is why they always Well, you always see on the news in Albuquerque about don't play in the arroyos. This is the very reason, because it's nothing, and then all of a sudden it's all at once.
Sure.
And it's no different with these rivers, that aren't rivers or culverts. It's the same thing.
Thing.
And that water is probably moving faster than you can restrain yourself from.
Exactly.
You don't realize the water moves everything. Moves mountains, moves dirt. It'll have no problem moving you.
That's it, exactly. And time allowing, I'll tell you a little story about that along those lines, but I just kind of want to go over some of the things that they're going to be covering in the workshop to kind of give you an idea. So
kind of give you what you're in for, yeah.
Right, of course, and like we talked, they're going to go over some of the events from a meteorological point of view.
Okay.
Meteorology, if that's the right word. But anyway, they're going to go over some of that stuff, some of the building blocks and some of the events that set themselves up. And kind
of the recipes for one of these floods and what's the ingredients that cause this to happen here, kind of thing.
Right, and of course they'll have some visual stuff. They'll have some images from the satellites to kind of show you how all that happened as well.
So you're kind of getting the kind of the aftermath report of our flood as well on some of this stuff and seeing how it came to be. And it's like, how did this even happen? Well, let me show you. It was a cocktail of ingredients, and it just made a creamy stew right here in Roswell.
That's it. And they also have, a lot of us got, I'm sure we all did get the flood warnings come up on our phones now.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so they'll be going over that and how the different classifications of those flood alerts, what they mean, and so forth. I think ours was catastrophic category.
It was about as high as you can get on that one.
It's about high, yeah. And so, and they're going to talk about how those trigger on your phones and stuff. And then, of course, we talked about preparedness, and they're going to talk a few ways about how to emergency plans, warning information, and all that kind of thing. So, it's really going to be a very informative class. I encourage anybody just to come out and learn. Free education. Go for it.
This is information that you hopefully don't need today, but you squirrel away. Mm-hmm. And it might save you bacon one day. And this is one of those things. And so I would recommend, I would even bring, maybe not young kids and stuff, but, bring your teenagers and stuff too. I think they'd be getting a kick out of this kind of information and stuff, especially if you got kids that maybe have aspirations to be meteorologists or something in that ballpark, something like that. But again, it'll be next Tuesday, the 29th, and it'll be at the Daniels Leadership Center, which is on the NMMI campus. You can't, that 19th? I always forget which street that is.
It's West 19th.
West 19th,
100 block. They're across from Dairy Queen.
Yeah, you can actually see it from Main Street if you look there. It's like if you see the golf course and all that, they're right next door across 19th. On the other side is the Daniels Leadership Center.
Yeah.
Just pull on down and you'll find the parking and going there. But the classes, there'll be two different ones, and they're exactly the same. So if you're more than welcome to go to both, but there'll be the exact same information on either one. And it'll be 3:30, and then again at 6:30. So kind of a late lunch after, maybe right after work kind of thing, and then one that's kind of after you have dinner or something, you can swing on it.
Yeah, and each class is only slated to run about an hour and a half.
Okay,
so to some degree, it's going to be abbreviated, from the typical, But
well, it's different kind of information you're getting this time. You're not learning to be a spotter. You're learning how to, kind of see the warning signs and really gather information on the statistics of what we experienced last year here. And how it happened.
Absolutely. And also, I might say, too, that for the person that might say, oh, man, I was wanting to take Skywarn class this year. Well, you can still do that. You can go to the National Weather Service website, and under, I believe it's the Education tab, you can go, I forget how. Anyway, you want to wind up on the for the Storm Spotter classes on the MET-Ed platform. And
do they have like a video versions of them kind of thing, or?
I don't remember what all kind of audio visual helps they have on there, but I'm sure they probably do at least pictures of what different. And then
I figure I bet a lot of that you could probably catch online as in a seminar like thing if you wanted to. Like I'm just saying, if someone just recorded one of your past ones and put it up there.
yeah, that's true. And there may be from the because during COVID we had a couple of virtual with slideshows and stuff.
Everyone had to figure out to do something virtually during that for those couple of years there. You had to have a virtual presence of some kind. But,
absolutely.
But for this one, it's all about the flood risk and resiliency, and so if you want to kind of really learn why it happened and what it was the perfect storm. It literally, I know that's about the best you can say is it was the ingredients. We were in depending on your philosophy here, the right place, the right time, or the wrong place at the wrong time. That it was just the perfect deal. But please come to these classes, come and take advantage of the tips and stuff, because especially if you live in the county and you live in places that generally are lower lying areas of town, you're going to have to be it's just wise to have a little preparation on that stuff.
It is. And, whether or not you're able to make the classes, and we hope everybody can, but just another little place, another little tip for you. You can go get some good information is at ready.gov.
Okay.
They have a lot of great information there for every kind of
emergency preparedness situation here. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, that might be a good thing to just check out before you go on trips and things. You're doing road trips or anything like that. Say, hey, maybe there's some tips in there. Because, again, we live in extreme climate. New Mexico, you're driving 3 hours before you see civilization sometimes. It's just how we live in this state.
Right.
And if you break down or you get, it's hard for me to fathom people still get lost in the mountains and things in the United States of America just because we're so many people. And it's like, is it really, we don't have that. But New Mexico is one of those places you can get, literally the weather gets bad. You're driving through the mountains. Your car goes off the road. You could be down there for a week before someone finds you.
Yep.
And it's happened
Happens all
multiple
the time.
times.
Yep.
And not many places in the United States that still happen at. And so you have to be prepared for that. And
Absolutely.
so ready.gov might have some good, because that's the thing. It's not that you're stuck in the car or whatever, but you need to live, water, food. And so this is what tells you. It's like, hey, if you're not going to be around for a while, here's some things to keep you alive until the rescue does show up, kind of thing. Or you get,
Sure. Well, it's like I know you have roots with the station and Artesia and stuff back there. I work in Artesia, live in Roswell, and I keep a go bag in my car all the time because dust storms. I've had to stay in Artesia before because they closed the roads.
Or how many times you're in the middle because the road's closed and you're there and you're just there till it goes away.
That's it. And you
could
got to
be
know what to
an
do
hour,
with it.
could be tomorrow, and that's
that's it.
Sure, be nice to have some water and some maybe some toiletries, some food, things that you keep handy. Don't be cooking a steak and throwing it in there, but keep some jerky, some chips, some things you can, maybe a couple of apples or something. I don't know, but whatever you put it in there.
Absolutely, you just never know.
You never know when it's gonna be going down, and unfortunately or fortunately, because there's some good reasons to live out where we live and love this stuff. You live in a place that if you don't think about these things, you could be in a situation where you're in trouble someday. Your car, put it this way: every year it's happening, and every time I guarantee you talk to those people, none of them thought that was going to be them that's sitting there doing that. They thought there's no way, and here we sit.
I never thought I was going to have water coming in my front door,
and here we sit. Right? It's just the thing. So please come out to the class. This one on flooding, but please take time, take the initiative to come to. I know it's not sexy or exciting or anything like that, but the information that you gather from either the 3:30 or 6:30 meeting next week might be the thing that saves your life one day.
Absolutely,
and that would be worth your hour and a half of time to do that to check that out, or might be your kid's life or your spouse's life, and that's what we're talking about here. So. This is the trade-off for living in the not city, folks, is we got to, live like pioneers and deal with extreme weather and things like that. And you got to educate yourself on how to do that. So
and I think that's a real good point to stress is that we really individually are responsible for our own preparedness and survival.
Absolutely.
We can't look. The governments, the county, city, state, and they have resources that help, but we can't rely on them for, why didn't you, we just have to be responsible for our own preparedness.
Well, and this is the beauty of, I don't want to get political or anything, but this is the beauty of America. You live how you want, you do what you want, but guess what? You also accept the responsibilities and the repercussions of that.
Sure,
too.
And watch out for your neighbor, too. Really, watch out for your neighbor.
That's the beauty of this country. We want to make it that way. You can live how you want, but you also have to accept the responsibilities and repercussions of that. And guess what, folks? This is the trade-off. You live in the desert, you live in New Mexico, things like this happen. The onus is on you to educate yourself and to give yourself the best position to survive and thrive when these very rare isolated incidents happen. we're never prepared. I don't care what you say, we can have it. And you know what? I'm telling you, even if we had a device that could have told you a month out it was going to happen, we would still have people doing issues and stuff. And that's what we got to talk about. It's not, you just be prepared. Do the simple things. Maybe it's as simple as having a go bag in your car all the time. Maybe if you don't even have that, let's start there, because you never know. At the bare minimum, a first aid kit for Pete's sake.
Sure, exactly. And even with my go bag, my first aid kit, and all the stuff I have, prepared to go in my car, guess what?
Yeah,
I couldn't go. I had to shelter in place and be prepared to call for rescue for my wife and I if that water were going to rise.
Yeah,
I mean,
even though all the preparing you can do, it doesn't match or always work perfect in every situation.
Never perfect,
Again, please join us for the Chaves County Flood Risk and Resiliency Workshop through Skywarn, the Skywarn weather classes here. It's kind of this is a revision of the normal Skywarn weather classes here. This one will all be dealing about flooding, kind of looking at what caused what we dealt with last year, and let's talk about what we can do to better ourselves the next time this happens. And again, 2 free classes. Don't even need to pre-register. All you got to do is make sure at the Daniels Leadership Center at either 3:30 or 6:30 next Tuesday, and come ready to learn some stuff. Maybe, of course, you want to take notes, bring your notepads and all that stuff, but just come as you are, and like I said, bring a friend or two, and put it this way: I hope you never need to use that information, but boy howdy, it's going to save your bacon if you do.
Absolutely.
And that's what this meeting next week's all about.
Yep, absolutely.
Jim, is there anything we missed? Anything we wanted to cover that we just got sidebarred on?
I think we pretty well covered it. You've gone over the times and places several times, and I'm going to stick my neck out here and say I'm pretty sure folks from the Office of the Emergency Management are going to be there.
Okay.
Of course, several of us, ARES, Amateur Radio Emergency Services, and it's kind of a...
But if you want to get into ham and that kind of stuff, too, don't hesitate. Come on out. You can talk all that stuff, and Jim loved to bend your about that stuff, ham radio.
And whatever questions you might have.
But this way, speaking of saving bacon, those ham radio guys have saved quite a few people's bacon up in the mountains over the years here.
It helps them, search and rescue. It's just a lot of...
Again, we live in New Mexico. Things that this is the kind of things we deal with out here.
And I might also throw this out too. Probably should have done first off, and that's just the kudos that go out to the many dedicated folks and organizations that stepped up and helped. And we had the Southern Baptist Relief here. We had Grace Community Church was well involved. A lot of other churches around the.
We are very great. This community. We're so great at rallying when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
When Riodosa was dealing with their issues, the troops rallied quick here. When our own backyard started filling up, the troops rallied as best they could here.
Yep.
And we have a town of amazing people. And I've always said that. I've as growing up, like when I was talking about growing up East Coast, I've also never seen people walking up and down the street just being friendly and high. That don't happen in D.C. You mind your business, you keep going. That's life is different out here. So. And that's because there's some great people out here.
It is. Even moving back from Denver, we'd go in a store or something. It's like people would greet you and smile. It's like, wow, this is pretty cool.
That don't happen East Coast that much. You're kind of, mind your business. That's kind of the mindset.
Yep, so. Absolutely.
But Jim, as always, thank you, and we'll see you here next time. And folks, and by the way, if you want to be a Skywarn with courtier spotter, please reach out to Jim. He'll be happy to, because they can always use more people giving reports. They never say, you know what, we've got enough reports, thank you. They could always use the eyes on the ground when these things do.
Sure, absolutely.
And we're about to get into busy season for that stuff, so please, now's a good time to volunteer.
Absolutely.
Good deal. Well, thank you, Jim.
Thank you, appreciate you.
And we'll see you next time here.
Okay, have a good one.
You too. 7:53, let's pause for news and Kim Commando and a quick break. Don't go away.
Now for your Pecos Valley News Update. I'm Jared Sorello. Community members who need help with food are invited to a free pop-up food distribution on Saturday at the Bulldog Bowl. The distribution will begin at 10 a.m. Community members seeking to receive food assistance do not need to register in advance or bring any paperwork with them. Make sure your trunk, truck bed, or back seat is clear, and watch for directional signs and volunteers providing instructions on where to go. It'll be a drive-through event, so you won't even need to get out of your car. Since January, the pop-up distributions have provided more than 615,000 pounds of food. The city of Roswell is announcing the reopening of the Roswell Visitor Center after months of work to repair the damage caused by last October's severe storm and flooding. The center at 426 North Main Street reopened to visitors on April 15th. A ceremony to mark the reopening is planned for Friday, May 2nd at 9 a.m. Everyone is invited to the ceremony. It will include light refreshments and remarks from Roswell Mayor Pro Tem Juliana Halverson. During the event, attendees will be able to tour the remodeled facility. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello.
Did you see the picture? Mark Zuckerberg caught taping up his computer's mic and webcam. Should you? I'm Kim Commando for Fast Growing Trees. Get an additional 15% off your first purchase when you use code Kim at checkout. FastGrowingTrees.com, code Kim. You know that one person in your life who tapes over the computer's camera. You've probably thought, really? Truth be told, your buddy who tapes up his or her webcam isn't some conspiracy theorist. Webcam hacking is real. Cyber criminals hijack cameras. They wait for you to install some malware or even shady browser extensions. Some chats turn them on automatically. From there, they are totally in control. They can record anything and, yes, blackmail you. Pro tip, you don't need to mess with tape. Grab a webcam cover. They slide open and shut, cost a few bucks, and don't leave your laptop a sticky mess. No, you cannot always rely on that little green light to tell you if it's on or not. Get tech ahead with my free newsletter. Sign up now at getkim.com. Did you know that Fast Growing Trees is America's largest online nursery? Yup, over 6,000 varieties of indoor and outdoor plants, plus more than 2 million happy customers. Whether you're after fruit trees, evergreens, houseplants, or something unique, they've got it all. No matter what your yard looks like or what your dreaming could be, Fast Growing Trees has you covered. I ordered an avocado tree for my backyard, and it's perfect. No green thumb, no problem. On top of their Alive and Thrive guarantee, they offer free plant consultation forever. Save 90% on landscaping costs when you DIY and get plants delivered directly from fastgrowingtrees.com. Right now, save up to 50% on select plants. And as a Kim Commando listener, you get an additional 15% off your first purchase when you use code Kim at checkout. That's an additional 15% off at fastgrowingtrees.com using code Kim. That's fastgrowingtrees.com for an additional 15% off using the code Kim.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty nice today. We'll be in the mid-80s on the afternoon high. The wind should stay fairly light. We've got a big high-pressure system parked overhead, so we get sunshine through the day. Clear for the overnight hours, and we're in the mid-50s, and then a mix of sun and clouds in the morning on Wednesday, but sunny in the afternoon. The wind will pick up a little bit, 15 to 25 miles an hour, and tomorrow's high in the upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
It's time for the Chavez County Sports Report. So we got some baseball scores to pass along from yesterday. Kind of a semi-loaded Monday schedule. NMMI goes to Albuquerque and beats up Bosque School by a score of 21-6. The Colts are now 14-6 overall and 7-1 district play. Meanwhile, Gateway Christian demolishes Dora on the road 16-0 as the Warriors are now 9-4, 7-0 in district play. And in softball, Dexter blows by Jowl 10-0. They'll play in Albuquerque today at 3 o'clock. Dexter is now 18-1 on the season. We've also got other games today. Goddard at Lovington softball, Roswell at Clovis doubleheader softball, and Carlsbad will be hosting Roswell today in baseball starting at 5. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
At Richland Motors, it's never been easier to sell or trade your current car, truck, or SUV for a newer model to hit the road in. Even if you don't purchase from Richland, they want to buy your vehicle for top dollar. But if you do buy from Richland, don't forget, they're the home of the powertrain warranty for life. That's a whole lot of confidence for you. See Richland for details. 2nd and Sycamore and 1309 Southeast Main.
If you're a service member, veteran, or family member who's feeling alone,
whether you're in crisis or not,
don't remain silent and suffer alone.
There is help out there.
Talk to someone you can trust.
Free confidential support is available 24/7 through the Veterans Crisis Line. Just text or call 988 and press 1 for veterans. Talking to someone about suicide won't increase the risk of suicide. It could save a life.
Sponsored by the New Mexico Department of Veterans Services, the Department of Health, the NMBA, and this station.
Your home for Coast to Coast AM in Roswell, 106.5, Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. A 7-2 Supreme Court ruling pauses Trump administration deportations of illegal aliens suspected of gang involvement. The order is coming under fire from some legal scholars. Constitutional attorney Mark Weaver tells the Salem Radio Network the High Court ran roughshod over its own rules.
This was not well done by the Supreme Court. Remember, this court is the court of last resort. It's supposed to only step in after the lower courts have fully made it clear what's happening. That's in the rules. That's in previous rulings by Chief Justice Roberts, that you have to establish your record.
That's part of the objection raised by dissenting Justices Alito and Thomas. Harvard University suing the Trump administration for withholding $2 billion in federal funds, citing the school's alleged refusal to enact changes aimed at fighting anti-Semitism. At the Vatican, the first steps are now being taken to choose a successor to the late Pope Francis. Steeped in centuries of church tradition, the BBC's Sarah Rainsford says it is a carefully choreographed process.
We've seen the papal apartments officially sealed with wax. We are now expecting on Wednesday the Pope's body will be moved in a procession from his apartments to St. Peter's Basilica, where his coffin will be placed there ready for people, heads of state, and then eventually for ordinary people to be able to come and say goodbye.
The Pope's funeral scheduled for Saturday at 4 a.m. Eastern Time. The International Monetary Fund downgrading its global economic growth forecast. The IMF predicts the worldwide economy will grow 2.8% this year. That is down from its January forecast, 3.3%. Wall Street, the Dow is up 568 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Walgreens agrees to a big money settlement with the Justice Department.
According to terms of the deal, the drugstore chain must pay the government at least $300 million and owe another $50 million if the company is sold, merged, or transferred before 2032. The Justice Department accused the pharmacy of knowingly filling millions of illegal prescriptions for controlled substances between August 2012 and March 2023. These included prescriptions for excessive opioids and prescriptions filled significantly early. A company spokesman says while the settlement allows the pharmacy to close all opioid-related litigation, Walgreens disagrees with the government's legal theory and admits no liability. I'm Mike Hempen.
80 years after the Holocaust, more than 200,000 Jewish survivors are still alive, according to the New York-based Conference on Jewish Material Claims Against Germany. Townhall.com. Almost a week later, they're still talking about it in Mexico. A spectacular fireball lit up the night sky across a vast area.
Videos of the ball of fire shooting over the country and dissolving in a burst of light over Mexico City struck awe in many and became the fuel for social media memes. Scientists were quick to note that the object rocketing across the sky about 3 a.m. Wednesday was a bolide and not a meteorite. Bolides disintegrate in the atmosphere and often can be seen over a wide area while meteorites strike the ground. Keith Peters, Washington.
Nadine Menendez, the wife of former Democratic U.S. Senator Bob Menendez of New Jersey, has been convicted of charges that she teamed up with her husband to accept bribes of cash, gold bars, and a luxury car. Bob Menendez set to begin serving an 11-year prison term in June. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The demolition, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2. Los Luz of Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy, like, this is like middle of the week, or like there's like a click above with Tuesday, because Tuesday's not Monday.
No.
But it's still
Tuesday is a second Monday, but it's also Wednesday's Wednesday.
There you go.
If you think about it.
Yeah.
Tuesday is Wednesday's Wednesday.
Yes. Yeah. Like, I always feel like Tuesday's like, and I also feel like a Tuesday's a busy day.
Tuesday's usually our busiest day.
Yeah.
In the afternoon, because that's when sales wraps up their meetings and that's when they get to work.
Well, I mean, just in general, like in life in general. Because, like, Monday, people are, like, kind of having weekenditis.
Yeah.
So they're not very motivated to work.
Yeah.
But by Tuesday, they're like, you know what, I kind of goofed off yesterday. I better get busy today.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I feel like Tuesday, just in general, is a busy
It's a
day
good
for people.
a good down to business day.
Yeah. Whereas Friday is this day where everyone just blows off everything.
Yeah.
They're like, you know, don't worry
Well,
about
especially a Friday before a holiday. So like this last Friday, it being Good Friday, most people were, done mentally by Thursday at noon.
Yep. Yep. So that's all right.
Yep.
I'm gonna do that this week. I'm gonna make this week my 4-day week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna take off Friday.
Yep.
Sean's gonna sit in for me.
Mike's getting himself a little birthday time.
Yeah. I turn
What you
52.
do? Mike's gonna, because Kim goes to work.
Mm-hmm.
Mike's gonna strip down to just skivvies. I've seen his kitchen. He's gonna turn on old time rock and roll, and he's gonna do that slide. He's gonna do it over and over again until he gets the timing perfect.
I just gotta watch out for the cats.
Yeah.
Sometimes they get in the way. All right. Speaking of that.
Okay.
Yes or no? I gotta say this.
Sure.
I'm a fan of the show The Righteous Gemstones. I've been watching it. The final season they've been showing on HBO here recently. I like to wait and not watch a couple episodes in a row. So I watched a couple episodes yesterday after I waited. And you haven't watched any of the show, have you?
I've watched half of one episode of season 1.
Okay. Well, there's a character named Cousin Billy.
Yeah.
And the actor, I can't remember his name, but he's been in a bunch of
Goggins.
stuff. Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
And he's quite the colorful character. But in this season of Righteous Gemstones, I have seen more of this dude than I've ever wanted to see of this dude. And they've done it multiple times now. Yeah. And the first time they hit me with was like, okay, that was unnecessary, but kind of funny.
Hey, you know what? It's funny. It's funny that you mention that because My kid's mom's also caught up in watching the new season. And she called the other day and she goes, just so you know, Righteous Gemstones is not a show that should be on when the kids are in the room. Like, duly noted. I watch The Boys. I mean, I've seen more of a lot of people.
And I'm not, it's not the most recent episode, but it's the most recent one I watched yesterday. They're going out to the lake, the family house on the lake kind of thing. And it's a mansion. I would say family house. And they just show this scene of Cousin Billy water skiing, pantsless. I don't know why he would do it in the first place. I feel like that's not safe.
Yeah.
Like, you need protection. And if your boys hit that water unprotected,
it's like
that
concrete.
Can't be good.
Yeah, it's like concrete.
That being said, they showed him and I'm telling you, they go over their top. Like, they even put camera angles where you go between his legs.
That's rough, man.
I'm like, why? Why are you doing this to me? It's not necessary.
Now, that being said, I can't remember if I was in the theater with my family, or who it was, but watching the movie Bruno.
Oh yeah,
I think it was my.
That's but awkward.
I might have been my dad.
That's but awkward.
Yeah, that was one of the more awkward moments of my life. So I understand those scenes. They can get a little.
How did your dad sit through that?
Yeah, I might be misremembering. It might not be him. It might have been somebody else.
Your dad.
I just remember being in a room with someone watching that movie. I think it was either on the big screen or
was it your mom? Like, I can see your mom watching it with you.
It might have been my mom.
Not that that's not less comfortable.
No,
but I'm just saying I could just see your mom.
Almost,
like, of your parents, your mom would be the one more likely to watch that movie.
It's almost more uncomfortable. Now that, but it's, and what it is it's so unexpected. I mean, and I'm not trying to be sexist here when I say this, but female nudity has a tendency to be more expected.
Right.
Dude nudity or dudity, it's not as common, and so it's very shocking.
Let's just say that
when it happens.
Back when we were kids, and you know, your Fredericks of Hollywood catalogs would come in the mail, or your Skinamax on TV.
Yeah,
they ain't showing dudes. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
No one's demanding dudes.
Nope.
That's what he's talking about.
However, I do remember that I can't remember if it was my cousin or somebody had a stack or a hiding spot of Playgirl magazines.
Oh yeah, and like if you sought it, it's available.
Yeah,
but like in the mainstream, it was always female nudity.
Just so we're clear, Burt Reynolds put it all on display at one point.
The only male nudity you would see was like Kevin Costner's butt or someone's Mel Gibson's butt. Someone's butt. That was male. That was the epitome of male nudity. Was, that's Kevin. And then half the time they're like, that's not his real butt. That was a stunt butt.
Yeah. He'd be called it a butt double.
Yeah.
Which I can't remember if it was a show, if it was Angie Tribeca or one of the Naked Guns, but they did. I do remember they did that. They had a stunt butt come in.
Loaded Weapon.
Was it Loaded Weapon? Because it was
the black guy Emilio Estevez's butt.
Was it?
And he was like, "What are you doing?" "I'm just doing a walking in the moonlight butt showing scene." It was a stunt butt. Yeah.
Okay. But I remember
and he's just like posing in the moonlight with his butt all flexed.
No. Okay, I'm remembering it. I'm remembering it wrong.
Yeah.
So there was it was like a car stunt or like a motorcycle stunt, and they had the white guy come up to the ramp and launch off, and it was clearly a black dude on the motorcycle doing the stunt.
Yeah.
And then they land and he slides in and he takes off his helmet. It's the white guy again. So it was one of those situations where you could clearly tell it was a stunt double based on.
Well, and they do that on purpose. Like there's one. I feel like it's one of the Mama's House movies or whatever.
Yeah.
Where like they have the old lady rap break dancing in church, and you could clearly tell that's not the lady. You know what I mean? It looks like a 12-year-old boy with a wig, with an old lady wig and a dress on, break dancing. I mean, they do it really. But yeah, you know that's part of a joke sometimes to make it obviously fake.
It's funny when I like when parody movies do that, but it's even funnier when it happens in a movie you don't expect. The example that comes to mind is the movie Crank 2. You ever seen any of the Crank movies?
I think I saw the first one. It's the one where he's got to keep going at 100 miles
Keep his
an hour.
heart rate going.
Yeah,
It's Jason Statham,
Yeah.
and it's just nonstop, wall-to-wall nonsense. But it's not really meant to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
But there's moments in the second movie that are put in there like, ha, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Like when they cut from one part of the city to another, they go to a map of the city, and it just says Google Maps on the bottom. And so it's just little funny little snippets like that. You're like, that's funny.
By the way, I saw over the weekend. I saw that Working Man movie, Statham.
Oh yeah,
yeah, the more recent one.
How's he doing?
Is all right.
Is he holding up?
Oh yeah. I mean,
he's not riding baking tins down staircase.
No, he was normal in this one. Matter of fact, he's kind of a low key guy in this one. It's basically the same movie he's done 50 times.
Sure.
It's the same where he's a guy, a working man, that kind of dude, that's this particular one. He's a former British secret, special forces guy.
Nothing but working man.
That now he's working construction. He's been working for this family construction for years. And then someone, because that's what happens, kidnaps the daughter, and then he has to go rescue.
He has a certain set of skills.
Yeah, it's the same. But it was all right. I mean, if you're looking for what I was looking for that night, just something kind of, it reminds me of back of the old like Cobra and some of those type Stallone movies from my growing up. It scratches that itch. If you're like, look, I'm just watching some good action movie that's devoid of anything real.
Just every man stands tall,
fine,
essentially.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it's one of those. But it was all right. It was good enough. I'm gonna go watch that the Civil War one now. Not Civil War. The new Captain America one. That's on.
Oh yeah.
That's on Prime.
Is it on Prime now?
It is. I think
Awesome.
it is.
Yeah, starring the inexplicable Harrison Ford.
Oh yeah, he's Red Hulk.
Yeah, it's just very odd to think of Harrison Ford as a Hulk.
That's the beauty of the Marvel MCU, man. It's because everything's done computer generated and everything. Anybody can be a superhero. They can literally make any fat slob a superhero now.
Everything is computer.
Yeah, that's right. That's why people that don't look, back in the day, you had to look like Jean-Claude Van Damme and Sylvester Stallone to be an action hero. Now they'd let anybody be one, and we'll just put a suit on.
We literally just need a scan of your face. We'll handle the whole rest of the movie.
Jack Black's a superhero, for Pete's sakes. That man looks like the epitome of unhealthy.
Right? Speaking to this mic for one full minute, and then you don't have to say anything else. I do have to really quickly say, it's funny that now that Jack Black has played Steve in the Minecraft, which we never even talked about that, but it's past. It's long since passed. But,
yeah.
But now that Jack Black has played Steve in the Minecraft movie, they've retroactively taken the Steve character from Minecraft, which was just like a nondescript dude. Now it looks like he's got like the mutton chops, and he looks like he's a fatter character, and so it looks like
Elizabeth shoot him like from Back to the Future, too.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I didn't even think about it like that. Yep, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
They just put the beginning of Back to the Future, the ending of Back to the Future 1, which was a completely different actress. They reshot it for the beginning of the Back to the Future 2 with Elizabeth Shue.
Had her. Yep, that's exactly what they did. And it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. It's and I've never played that game. I've heard of it. I've never played it. I guess it's one of these things you can create anything in this world and make it. I don't know.
I've never personally played it, but I have nieces and nephews and now children.
Yeah.
So I've seen it played. And it's basically you build your own world.
I have no desire to see the movie, but I got to be honest. I don't think I'd even understand the movie because I don't know the concept of the game.
That's the thing. It's not to be understood. It's for 6-year-olds to go and wait for them to scream, say chicken jockey, so they can throw popcorn and destroy theater workers' lives.
My generation, I heard that. That's my version of chicken jockey.
What I was referencing over the weekend was my generation is we all did that, but we had a certain set time that we did it, and we just showed up in costume and did the dances and sang the songs.
Yeah.
But we reserved it for the evening after the crowds had ceased, essentially, and that's when we let our freak flags fly. These kids are just, so much popcorn wasted.
I blame the movie Grease.
Somebody brought an actual chicken. Like, how did you get that in?
They decided to do sing-alongs at Grease, and that just opened the floodgates for the rest of it. That's what I believe.
Or those people that just ruin screenings of Wicked for the rest of us.
We got Shamalama Ding Donged into this one.
I like to think about it as we got Shoo Up Shoo Wada Wada.
right, let me give you the rundown for this hour of the show. We're going to get you up to date with the weather here in just a bit. Then here in a few short minutes, we're going to replay our interview we had back on April 14th with the folks from Bush Appliance, talking about all their services and from kitchen and bathroom remodels to appliances and some of the stuff. So we had a fun conversation with them. So I'm going to play that for you here in just a bit. Excuse me. Later on in the hour, we'll get you up to date with news of the local variety, Wall Street business, and whatever else we can come up with for this hour of the show. But first, your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty nice today. We'll be in the mid-80s on the afternoon high. The wind should stay fairly light. We've got a big high-pressure system parked overhead, so we get sunshine through the day. Clear for the overnight hours, and we're in the mid-50s, and then a mix of sun and clouds in the morning on Wednesday, but sunny in the afternoon. The wind will pick up a little bit, 15 to 25 miles an hour, and tomorrow's high in the upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 54 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 34%. Winds currently out of the north at 9 miles per hour. They're using the term for today, isolated sprinkles. For today and tonight, we are looking at isolated sprinkles after 3 today. High of 87, so it's going to be warm. Winds will be out of the southeast at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Isolated sprinkles before 9 p.m. Increasing clouds tonight with an overnight low of 55 degrees. South winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. Wednesday, partly cloudy. Early, gradually becoming sunny. Another warm day, high of 88 tomorrow. Winds will be breezy out of the south, 10 to 20 miles per hour. Tomorrow night, clear. Overnight low of 55. South winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. Thursday, sunny. Once again, highs in the upper 80s. South winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. Friday, we're looking at mostly sunny and 88. And then those rain chances that they were talking about yesterday, they've already dissipated. Now we're down to a 20% chance of showers after midnight Friday night, partly cloudy, overnight low 57, and a 30% on Saturday, partly cloudy, 87 for a high there. And then sunny and 90 for your Sunday. All right, 8:21, we're going to take a 2-minute break, and then we're going to play our interview with the fellows from Bush Appliance. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
It's been a long, cold, boring winter, and children in neighborhoods everywhere are waiting to hear those magical words. The pool's open! Summer weather has finally rolled around. Make sure your pool is ready. Preparing and maintaining your pool for summer the right way will create a season full of smiles instead of headaches and make your life much easier. Soft Swim, the chlorine-free sanitizing system by BioGuard, only at Mays Lumber Company.
And now through May 15th, buy $100 in BioGuard products and receive a $20 mail-in rebate. 115 South Virginia in Roswell.
Tee up for the 3rd annual Roswell Honda Charity Golf Tournament, Saturday and Sunday, April 26th and 27th at Spring River Golf Course in Roswell, with a double shotgun start at 7:30 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. both Saturday and Sunday. Prizes for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place, as well as longest drive closest to the pin, and a Honda Civic driver and putter with a hole-in-one, plus free breakfast and lunch each day and free beer. Don't forget about the Trans-Aero helicopter golf ball drop at 9 a.m. on Sunday. Proceeds this year to benefit the VFW of Roswell, providing support and resources to our local veterans of foreign wars. Sign your team up at RoswellHonda.com or find Roswell Honda Charity Golf Tournament on Facebook to learn more. The 3rd annual Roswell Honda Charity Golf Tournament, Saturday and Sunday, April 26th and 27th at the Spring River Golf Course in Roswell. Sponsored by Pepsi, Southwest Printers, Pecos Valley Broadcasting, Albertsons, Trans-Aero Medevac, ABC Distributors, and Roswell Honda. Together we play for a purpose. Together we make a difference.
Maybe your AC unit needs a little tender loving care. If you don't know where to turn, then you don't know Jack. Fergalicious. In fact, they're downright funky. Fergalicious. Let the boys at Fergie's Plumbing and Heating get your AC unit ice cold, just like some of my lady friends. Don't let any fool make you lose your cool. Fergie's Plumbing and Heating. If you don't know Fergie, then you don't know Jack. 632-2660.
Fergalicious. Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. More than 50% of Americans fall asleep on their sides. That's way better than falling asleep on someone else's side. Here's Mike Winters.
Joining us, and good morning. It is 21 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in the studio this morning, we got, hopefully not everybody from Bush Appliance. Hope there's a few more people back at the store.
A couple people working this morning.
We got a few people working here. But James King, James Madrid, Also, Nick B. and Rupert Guzman as well. Good morning, gentlemen. How y'all doing this morning?
How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Which, I was kind of talking. We were talking off air here, and I look at like Roswell community. We have legacy businesses you just know for years and years. It's like you need that thing, you go to that place to get the thing, and Roswell Seed's definitely one of those businesses. But I would say Bush Appliance is also one of those businesses. Now, granted, I've been here since 2000, and you guys have been here that long at least.
Yeah,
that long at least. And so in my head, I'm like, yeah, you go Bush, and things come and go, but you guys, when it comes to appliances, to remodels, kitchen, remodels, things like that, you're kind of you're what Roswell knows for hundreds of years.
Yes, well, since 1973. Anyway.
They were in the 1780s before they even had appliances. Bush Appliance was around.
We were there.
Not that old.
We actually invented appliances.
That's right.
There we go. Yes, sir.
We knew we were going to sell electric stoves one day. But in all seriousness, guys, really, it's a legacy name. It's a thing, and so. I guess for you guys, the pressure's on to just keep the reputation, right? I mean, when you're known for a thing and you do a thing, and you're doing the thing for a long time, the moment you guys slip up a bit, everyone knows about it. You know what I mean?
That is a fact.
So is that kind of the biggest challenge of keeping a business like this? That reputation, keeping
the reputation, and of course at the heart of everything is customer service, and that's really what, by design, that's what we do and what we've done best for all these years.
Well, that's why this is where this is the local difference versus the big box store stuff. I mean, let's face it, you can at the end of the day probably will find an appliance and save a few dollars from a big box store, But do you know what you're getting? What's the service? What's the follow-on? And let's face it, a stove breaks every once in a while. Refrigerator breaks every once in a while.
And to touch on that, what separates us from some other businesses who do sell appliances in town is we do service all of our warranties. We service everything we sell.
Absolutely.
So that's a big key in customer retention is them knowing that if something goes wrong, they have someone to call.
And I would also argue you guys are a little pickier on what you put on your shelves.
Yeah, we want to make sure it works. And we usually, when we spot an issue, we spot it pretty quick. Within the first order, usually we'll have 2 or 3 in a row that's going out. We have that problem, so you
can smell the lemon when it's coming.
We can it right away, and
absolutely
wait for it to get fixed.
And that's that's where you pass that knowledge and expertise on to your customers and stuff. So because most of us, aren't. I want a refrigerator. Like, what do you want? I want to make cold things cold, and the hot things hot. And of course nowadays everything's you got to have a computer to. Oh well, this refrigerator will tell you when you're out of milk, and it'll tell you when we go from that high techy. But believe it or not, you kind of need a Sherpa with appliances sometimes nowadays. It's not just like turn the stove on 350. All right, it's all and that's where coming local, talking. I'm pretty sure every one of your customers especially when they buy a high tech appliance. They're going to know every bell and whistle how that works. Is very, and I'm just saying, when you go big box store shopping, you're lucky if they get it delivered to you in the place you wanted it to.
Yeah,
let alone how to work it, how to do it. That's a big difference. Yeah. It's all great if you got a high tech fridge, but if you don't know how to do any of it or how to work any of it, what's the point of having it?
Yeah.
So
yes, sir.
That's why I said when it is time to make those decisions, that's when you say maybe let's go see Bush Appliance. Let's go talk to them. Let's talk about it. You have a great website. You guys can go sit in your underpants and look at their website and see all that stuff, and then build some questions and stuff. Then come on down and put your clothes on. Then come on down.
And our delivery guys will actually they're knowledgeable as well in products that we sell.
Absolutely.
So if customers have any questions on installation, they will show them how to use it as well. So they're not just.
And I have
wondering.
firsthand on that one. We actually pull back the curtain. I'd say about 6 months ago, we bought a new fridge from you guys there. And great experience. Came in, and my wife literally walked in there and we went online first and kind of said, something in this ballpark. And then we kind of looked at this and delivered, set up everything, and took the old one out, and all I had to do was come home and open the fridge. It was really nice.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Actually, I had to wait for the ice to make, but you guys can't. You guys can't have. You guys don't have time machines yet to pre-fill ice machines. So.
We're working on
maybe
it.
soon.
But we talk about the appliance side, but when it comes to remodels and things, when it's time to do the cabinets, when it's time to do the upgrades in the bathrooms and the kitchens, Bush Appliance, they can, from soup to nuts, everything in that room they can pretty much handle for you.
Absolutely.
From the appliances to the cabinets to everything. Do you guys do the flooring and everything too, or do we call in other people for that?
We do flooring as well.
Excellent. So you got all that covered. Yeah. So even the flooring and stuff. What don't you do then?
Plumbing and electrical. We don't do electrical or plumbing.
We call in those experts for the electrical
we're
plumbing.
Trying to do the realm of everything else as a full remodel.
Sure. But as far as hooking everything up, you guys do all that. So when you like you won't, like, say you get a fridge and there's no water line hooked up, you guys get the plumber come in and run that line, and then you guys will come in and make sure it hooks up to your fridge. And
make sure you're getting the ice.
RO or whatever it's hooked up to and everything else, and your ice and all that good stuff. But yeah, and so if it's time to update the kitchen cabinets or the countertops and all that, maybe, especially, it seems like the real estate market's getting, it's heating up again, and now that, and a lot of times, people will do work like this to get more value out of their home. So maybe if you're trying to, say, maybe we're trying to sell it, or maybe you're just, no, we bought the house 20 years ago, and cabinets were nice back then, but they're not really fashionable nowadays. Yeah. So let's upgrade. But if maybe it's that time too where you want to sell the house, but no one's buying because your cabinets look like the ones on the Brady Bunch. Maybe.
Yeah, I feel like the kitchen is a selling point and a focal point. So even if you just want to do the remodel to stay there,
sure. Well, and I know at the end of the day, the less work people have to do when they move in on stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, like if it's carpet worn out and you're kind of like, well, they may not want carpet, then you have that negotiation. But everyone doesn't want a crummy kitchen. You know what I mean? Right. I mean, we can argue about countertops and granite versus whatever, quartz or whatever the different options are out there. But if it's new and clean, everyone's good with it. You know what I mean? It looks clean. It looks like someplace you might want to cook a meal in. then they're happy with it.
Yeah, many times we can utilize the space that they have and give them more storage with cabinetry. Because
find little nooks and crannies that were filled in with something else before, or just weren't laid out right to do that. Yeah.
And, cabinets have a lot of options that they didn't have in the past. If you have a kitchen from 1970, there's so much more hardware options today than there was back then.
Well, I imagine even, like you ever see, like, those companies that do, like, those crazy, like, bedroom closets and all that stuff? Mm-hmm. They kind of do that with kitchen cabinets and stuff now. I mean, maybe not to that level, but, like, if you're designing for cups and stuff, they kind of make, it's not just 3 little shelves in there anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, no, this is specifically to put coffee mugs, or this is specific to hold spices, or whatever that is.
Yeah, there's tons of options.
Yeah, like you always see those cool. Everyone watches the HGTV shows every once in a while. You get stuck on there, and they're doing a remodel of the kitchen, and always, ooh, look, it's a built-in spice cabinet. That is so cool. Yeah, you guys do all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
That's so we can, because we all, and I know the spice cabinet thing. We all, in theory, want it organized. It's never. Like one time when you put it in, it was organized, but then it's just a sea of. I got 37 paprikas in here. What happened?
Got the 3 main ones up front. And
There's a couple steak seasons you always go through, some chupacabra or something.
Yes,
but in the back there's like 3 cumins from like.
Got
1970.
You got expired salt back there from the 80s.
Like Italian seasoning. When's time I bought this? Now they can help you out with that, all that stuff too. But bathroom remodels as well too. Do all of that stuff and the tub tile, all that work and all that.
Yeah.
What's kind of the trends now in bathrooms? What's kind of, I mean, there's always tried and true, but are people like, is there certain styles that people are into right now?
They're moving into like solid surfaces, more of like more solid walls instead of like smaller tile pieces how they used to be.
Kind of these less lines, cleaner looks,
cleaner,
kind of
like
thing.
Solid, just
more sleek
inserts and shelves.
Kind of a modern look. I guess
more modern. With like widening it out a little bit, I guess, not just a straight tub,
Sure.
So making like corner showers.
Sure, it looks like something like an adult man could fit in.
Right. Exactly. You see the stand-up showers where you're standing on the wall.
Right. But even like some tubs, you're like, I'm gonna get a tub, and then if you're like 6 foot tall, I don't have this problem, but some do. It's like my knees and my chin are right next to each other here, in the tub. But they're coming bigger, deeper. and things
and
like that.
the waterfall showers, like some of these showers you get into now, you got a duck to get underneath the head. You know? So
well, I think like everyone wants like when they look for an inspiration, they think of like some kind of like tropical waterfall place. So they want those like rain showers and the some kind of tub with a fall like thing or something, which is nice. I get you. It's supposed to be your chill zone, right? Your bathroom. That's kind of your serenity and all that. But you guys do all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Do you get everything like what's like is there like a crazy like what's like the wildest thing you ever put in a bathroom? Do you remember anything like Elvis, like some weird bidet or something? I don't know. Is there any weird request?
No, we haven't got that yet. But I'm sure we might run across it.
The golden toilets are on back order.
Right? Like, you've ever seen like any crazy toilets like that where they're like got remote control systems and?
On the remotes, not so much. Some of the things that I've seen that which actually are newer, but kind of go back in time where the tank is separate from the tub and you pull the string.
I kind of dig those. Yeah, that's kind of that's how they used to be. But I guess it's kind of that retro new look.
Yeah, it kind of gives you a contemporary but old at the same.
It's like in the '80s where we were for a minute. Everyone had like old timey phones that worked like regular phones. They had the rotary or whatever, but they had the hand for that and the other thing. You remember
You're dating me now.
Yeah.
I was like, does he remember that? I don't know.
I remember.
We've seen it in movies.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go.
Watch a movie from the 80s. There's bound to show up in there. One of the Home Alones maybe or something.
No. My first phone slid up. So.
Hey, I remember when there was a minute when the coolest phone you had was the Sports Illustrated football phone.
Ooh. Now that's something I can get behind.
If you signed up for like a 5-year subscription to Sports Illustrated, they gave you a football phone.
Was it a team phone or just a standard?
I think this one was just an NFL.
Okay.
It was just the standard NFL football with the NFL logo, and the phone was hidden like where the stripes, where the stitches were.
And
that
it
was
did
like
have a
the
cord.
Yeah, it did have a cord.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it was cord.
Was it one of those that was on top and then half the ball? Okay, I do think I've seen those.
Yeah, back in the day.
That would be cool to have in like a game room or something. See if Rupert can get that on his list for my bathroom.
You can probably find one. I bet you can find one on eBay or something.
Sure, yeah.
Now. They have them, but in the meantime. As far as appliances, like I know right now you kind of have like a spring cleanup sale. So I imagine if you are looking for appliances, you'll probably find some deals at the store. Right now,
yeah, and I don't know, with a lot of these tariffs coming in, appliances are getting ready to go up again. So right now, actually, is a good time to buy from us.
Gotcha. Buy before we see it's a spike in pricing.
Right. We put in a pretty huge order, so we got a warehouse full and a floor full of stuff, and it's 35% off in most cases. In some cases, a little bit more. In some cases, a little bit less, just depending on what it is. But really, for the most part, across the board, steep discounts and even some rebates.
Nice. So if you're needing, you've been trying to limp along with that refrigerator or that stove or dishwasher, maybe it's time to bite the bullet. Let's get that done, because if you wait too much longer, you might pay twice the amount for this product here down the road. Here.
Yeah, it's going to be probably a minimum of 30% on top of not the sell price.
Gotcha.
So,
Now, is this going to impact you guys across the board too, on even the cabinets and the building stuff too? Because I mean, some of that material's got to probably spike in price too.
in some cases, not so much the cabinets, probably the hardware more than anything.
Gotcha.
Most of the cabinets are built here in the United
America,
States.
so that it's not hit by the tariffs. That makes more sense. The stuff coming in now, that's going to be where obviously a lot of the appliances and stuff are made overseas.
Yeah, and I think last I heard was like 20% increase on hardware, but even on appliances, certain appliances that are built here are not subject to it, but the things that are not are going to be hit.
Well,
by
do
the
they
tariffs.
do the move like cars, where like they'll kind of assemble the parts overseas and then put it all together here in the States, kind of deal? Do they do that a lot here?
Some, most of what like Whirlpool, Maytag, and Electrolux were making was built here in the United States.
Gotcha.
With exception to control boards, valves, most
anything
of
with
the
a circuit board,
electronics,
basically, yeah.
harnesses, but everything like all the
And he's
steel
got a
stamped,
microchip,
painted.
basically.
But yeah, it's most of the things that we carry are manufactured here in the United States, or are United States manufactured.
Gotcha.
So,
but sometimes the innards aren't, and hence the reason these prices are.
Yeah, well, and some companies are actually moving certain like refrigeration A lot of it is being built in China now.
Oh, gotcha.
R600 instead of R134A. And so all that stuff that's being built and sent down here is going to be hit by tariffs.
And that's kind of the bigger picture, which, it's, for you guys, we don't have to worry about it. Just try to get a deal on a stove.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I think the bigger picture is. The tariffs are trying to bring some of this back. It's like, hey, come back here. We'll get you, we'll give you more economically friendly reasons to come build it back here in the United States.
And we're holding out on that. I mean, realistically, the manufacturers had these facilities in the United States, so they could easily just put them back in the commission.
Sure. How is that for the repair side too? Is it going to give you guys a bit of a, because like I said, a lot of these parts come from when you need those parts, so it might cause a little delay there for some folks, for depending on the part. I'm going to take an assumption there.
Yeah, I would say maybe a little bit of delay, but even if there's no delay, it's definitely going to increase cost of part.
Oh yeah,
and I mean,
you find it's supply and demand. People want it, they're going to pay more for it. That's capitalism, folks.
Yeah. Well, in the last 25 years, you've seen it's pretty standardized increase, but really over the last, I would say, the last 6 to 7 years, you've seen an even bigger jump.
Sure. Do you all deal with the like the car industry? Like when COVID hit and all that, and the price gouging. Did you guys experience some of that during COVID? Or
we did, but we chose not to gouge.
I didn't know if you guys were the recipient of it. We're like, man, we couldn't get none because they're charging 6 times more.
We couldn't get anything, but we didn't sell above retail.
Right.
I know a lot of places did. We had people calling us.
People remember that stuff. Man.
Yeah,
they do.
And that's that's the basis that we used during that. Is like, you know what, we're not going to do this to our community.
Well, there's a reason
everybody's hurting. So why are we going to?
There's a reason why you're a legacy business. There's a reason why, and it's because of decisions like that. And usually businesses that make those kind of decisions generally aren't around for the length of time that a place like Bush Appliance has been around. So it's tried and true. Yes, there's always great, new, and innovative, and different ways to solve a problem sometimes. But at the end of the day, when it comes to making customers happy, doing a product, providing a service, it's that process does not change. It does not. And that's the reason why you guys.
Yeah, we've had our rough spots, but realistically, we bounced back pretty good.
Sure.
And and right now we're doing great. It's good to serve our community. It's good to stay busy. It's good to see people coming through that door every day, and it's a blessing. It's not just something to take lightly.
Absolutely. Yeah. I imagine. Yeah, as a private family business, it's kind of every person that walks through that door, that puts food on the table.
Mm-hmm.
That's what where you guys keep raising your family. This is how you raise families and things like that, and that's. Bush Appliance has been raising quite a few families for a lot of years now, and that's a good thing.
And touching back on what he said about not raising prices during COVID and stuff like that, customer retention is how we stay afloat.
Well, yeah, because eventually that fridge will break down.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it's not for another 10, 20 years, but it will at some point. And then when that happens, once you come back in and buy the next fridge for the next 10
years. Well, and even if they just want to service it, the good thing about the brands that we sell, they do make parts. Whirlpool, Maytag, Electrolux. They've been around a long time, and they will be around a long time for the foreseeable future anyway. So we will always be able to get parts. Not always, you know what I mean?
In a world where they seem to build these things not to last forever, they still got the stuff to keep as long as humanly possible.
Keep them going as long as possible.
Yeah.
So, they say if you get 10 years out of a product today in any brand, you're doing pretty good. And some of them are worse than others. There's some that we choose to try to stay as far away as we can. But.
Well, and it is trial and error at the end of the day. That's kind of, because especially in the appliance world, because there's so many big names, but they got maybe big, not in the appliance world. You know what I mean? There's certain brands like, they make a fine phone, but how's their refrigerators? You know what I mean?
That's it.
Or, they make a great TV, but I don't know about ovens here. And converssely,
Whirlpool make TVs?
I'm about to say, if I saw Whirlpool TV, I'm a little skeptical.
They don't.
That's all I'm saying.
Don't do it.
But the washers.
Well, a Mana stereo system is not, exactly what I'm promoting. I'm just saying.
Well, RCA did make refrigerators.
Of course, back then, though, everything was a tank.
Yes. You couldn't destroy it either. You could drop it off the back of the truck.
Yeah.
It would likely still run.
Absolutely. But and so that's why you need to ask questions and things like, okay, I see this brand, I know the brand, but is it any good? Then you talk talk to these guys. Yeah, well, it's here. We've had good experience with it, so that's why it's sitting here in our showroom and things. But please, please tell us if you've got issues. So that's the thing too, is if you do buy something and it's not, doing what it's supposed to be doing, talk to you guys first up, and you guys will, whatever you can do to make it right, we'll do that.
Give us a call.
Yeah,
figure it out.
Call us with questions, and also now one good thing that we have we've got a new phone system, and with our phone system now, the public can text in.
Okay.
So they don't even have to call. If they don't want to talk to us face, they can text it, and they'll still get that same face. But,
okay.
But not over the phone.
Gotcha. So to appeal to you guys, you younger audience, people that don't like face-to-face conversations.
Text us.
I couldn't tell you what that one would be called.
See, after you got off your football phone, you had to go out and meet them.
That's true. And even on our website, we got the little chat icon there with the little person that sits there. You would still be talking to a live person,
gotcha.
not AI.
Gotcha. Yep. So that's an actual person. So watch the dirty jokes when you think there's gonna.
Yeah.
We are reading them.
There will be critiqued and graded.
Yep, we will talk about it.
Yeah. So that and again, that's a great aspect of you kind of got the best of both worlds, where you got the mom and pop mindset, trust local. You can go right down the street, walk in there, and say, "Hi, James," and then you're only about half the people in the room. But but
Which
you can
one?
literally
Which one are you looking at?
Right. But you can literally talk to human face, or like you said, if you're like, "Look, I just want to push a couple buttons." Next thing you know, I'm getting something going. Whatever your choice is, whether you want to do it old school or more high tech. Bush Appliance got you covered either way.
Either way.
I think that is our company question. Which James do you want?
Which James either? That is true. I was going to say, I've been thinking about changing my name to James, so I could just have all the customers.
I think all of them should just be James.
They're all mine, right?
Well, you're James now. We only have one name tag here. It just says James. So you're all James now. So if you want to have fun today, walk right into Bush Appliance and say, "I'm looking for James," and just see what happens.
Ask for Nick.
Definitely get some help.
I'll just say it's either Big James or Little James. I'll let you guess which one's which.
Yes.
And that'll be fun to do.
Yeah, right?
James of average size.
Right here.
It'll be kind of like George Foreman's house with everyone's named George. Right?
Yeah.
But now I'm going to take a stab. If you're looking to do remodels and that stuff, maybe let's not, maybe start on this line to kind of look it around and stuff. But when you're ready to pull the plug on that one, let's walk in and talk, and let's get because that one that's about personality, that's about taste. That's going to be a few more questions than how many cubic feet is this refrigerator?
Right.
Correct.
Right.
Well, that's when you walk in and ask for Rupert, and that's the only one you're going to get when you're there. This one.
You're the creative. You're the creative. He's like, I want the guy not James, please.
Me and Rupert will come around here.
It'll be either Nick or Rupert to get here, but you're kind of the guru that does the designer and you kind of help with the design, the layout, the whole deal on that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we go in and to get measurements and get your idea of what you want. We'll put it on paper, put on an actual 360 computer design, so you can come in and look at what your kitchen will look like, in the future.
Separate the fantasy part from fiction, because I imagine, because obviously there are rules depending on where things are electriced out or plumbed out for your bathrooms and So if the stove is got its electrical hookups for here, short of getting an electrician to move that somewhere, it's going to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we do make that possible. So if things do need to move, electrical.
But you will get the plumber and the electrician to move the.
Yeah.
Like if you're moving a toilet, Rupert ain't moving your toilet. He's getting the plumbing guy.
Yeah, we contract that stuff out.
Yeah, he'll put a new one on top, but the hole in which all goes to, that's getting moved by somebody else.
Yes.
But that is possible, and that's actually the time to and to be honest, depending on the move and stuff, it may not be that much more expensive, depending on the
a few factors. But usually if you want something, in most cases, to move something like that, it's possible, and usually not all that much, depending on the circumstances. But generally, it's pretty affordable.
Yeah, might have to bust up some concrete, but
Yeah.
got to break a few eggs before you make an omelet, right?
That's where it comes in the showers in most cases, because people want to do something different. So if they want a French drain, or if they want the drain in the center and offset, so you can get that moved over.
Absolutely. So, all right, I got a question. When is it considered acceptable for a person to be okay with buying the stand-up tub and shower? Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm 51, going on 52, but every time I see those old people stand-up showers that you get to sit in the tub and they put the door, I'm like, how old do I have to be before I'm allowed to have one of those and not feel judged on?
Yeah, well, that's kind of like the reverse Titanic. Do not open the door when it's a bath.
Yeah, I'm about to say, that's a pro tip. Don't open the door when it's full of water. But I ain't gonna lie, that sounds delightful. It's got a chair. It's in the water. Like, you put a wall mount TV, I'm never leaving.
Well, yeah, it goes back to what you said earlier. That's your personal space.
Yeah.
So whenever you decide you want that in there, that's when you go.
But I just didn't know, are you going to judge me secretly if I'm, not retired yet and want one of those?
Well, and company, you got a guest bathroom for that, so they don't have to see that.
Yeah.
So.
But I'm just saying.
We'll know, but they won't.
I'm just saying, I don't care what people think. I want that tub.
Get with Rupert.
No judgment zone.
Get with Rupert. He got you.
I mean, you put a cooler or some kind of mini fridge in a.
Never leave, huh?
I might get fired.
Just
I'm
make
not
sure you
coming
get
to
it
work.
heated and you have the jacuzzi going all the time.
That's right. Get some Whirlpool jobbers in there. Make the water go. Yeah, we're good.
Well, I think they have his and hers too. So you can, one on each side. And
there you go.
Y'all gonna have chips or whatever, wine.
Be back to back, or maybe like a pilot co-pilot thing or something.
We just suggest not doing your toilets that way.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, no.
Facing each other.
Although if you're going to do that, put one of the toilet paper dispensers just out of the reach of the other stall, just for funsies. All kidding aside, I guess technically if you want all that, they'll do that for you. But if you just want a normal bathroom, a regular toilet and a regular, shower and tub, then they got you covered.
Definitely.
But it's kind of, but that's the cool, because anybody, like when anybody talks about remodeling a home, what's the two places most people get creative with and wanting? It's kitchen and bathroom. Because weirdly enough, that's, you spend most of your time living, in the kitchen. I mean, how many times is your family just hanging out in the kitchen doing the kitchen?
Every day.
It's like a focal point.
In the bathroom, it's your solstice place that you're, depending on how many kids you got and everything else, it could be your escape. I mean, but at some place, you want a nice tub to rewind, relax and unwind in, and that's what you guys can bring all that.
Usually you start your day and end the day in the bathroom, so you want it to be a nice, peaceful place.
And you can make it as organized too. So like I get it, like you got a missus that it's like you got this much counter space, and then for you, and then your wife has got 37 feet of it.
Oh,
we can fix it so you have your own little man zone.
Yeah. and God forbid you leave your toothbrush on the couch.
That's right. We can keep like your 3 products you have, like your deodorant, your toothpaste, and some goop for your beard.
That's it. But that has to go in the drawer.
In your personal spot.
My stuff's always getting moved to a drawer.
Yeah.
Can't ever find it.
I'm going to have Rupert take the drawers out of there, man.
Yeah, but that's when you can have those conversations. Okay, so you can make her Shangri-La, where she can have 37 blow dryers hanging on the wall. Talk to the electrician about getting any of them to work at the same time.
Yes, yeah.
But, in my house, the way our circuits, it's all the fuse box, everything set up. The bathroom in our bedroom, in our kitchen, where my microwave is and where she plugs her blow dryer, it's on the same circuit. Oh. So if I'm microwaving when she has the blow dryer, it does pop the circuit. Guaranteed.
And it's kind of odd that you always have to microwave when she's doing her hair. It's like, man, I got this sudden hunger.
I'm getting a shower. I want some popcorn.
Hot Pocket.
Hot Pocket.
You start hearing the screaming and the hair comes out all crazy.
That's funny.
So what just got hurled at me?
That's right. But
it's like when you're in the shower and they flush the toilet, you hear a little scream.
Oh yeah, yeah. That In our house, I don't lose temperature. I do lose pressure.
Pressure, yeah.
That's the word. Like, it doesn't get cold, thank God. But it does all of a sudden go for a minute. I'm like,
yeah, most of the faucets that you see today, they have temp control in it, so they adjust it accordingly. But how that works is beyond me.
Pepperidge Farms remembers. I remember back in the day where someone come in and take a pee and flush the toilet, and I remember the
turn on the cold water.
Yeah, that ain't right. Why do you hate me?
Well, when you grow up in a house with 3 other siblings, like they do it on purpose.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, if that didn't work, they just actually fill up a cup of water and throw it over the curtain.
There you go. Have some flour too.
Yeah, by the way, Bush Appliance can design a thing that goes all the way to the ceiling so they can't throw it over.
Locking stalls and everything.
Absolutely, but all joking aside, just all the time, if you're in the need of appliance like right now because of the sale, spring cleanup sale with the tariffs and all this, now's a good time to maybe replace that washer or dishwasher or washer dryer combo or refrigerator or any appliance for your home. Get that stuff taken care of now, and it's fun just to shop sometimes. Walk the showroom and kick the tires on a few of these bad boys and see what's going on. And of course, if you've been thinking about, doing that big remodel of your kitchen or bathroom or both, or maybe you're not getting enough nibbles on your house and it's time to do some maybe work in those 2 rooms, let Bush Appliance help you build the. You know what? They might build it so good. You're like, we're not going to move now. Yeah, we're going to stay. I hated this house because of the kitchen. Now I love the kitchen.
We've had it happen.
Get you an island and restart.
Hey, that might be a tactic. Maybe if one is on board for selling, the other isn't. Maybe give Bush Appliance a call. Maybe you can get them on your team to keep them to stay.
That is smart.
Yeah. So, or put it in colors that you absolutely hate, so they'll sell. Like if they're like, I want to move, but they were like, great for a kitchen. I'm going to make it all this weird avocado green, so they're going to sell it.
and the new generation's going to love it.
Sale, then you get your new house, and then we'll give you another new
kitchen. There you go. And then you can make it the right color.
Trends do come back around full circle.
Absolutely. What is old? I mean, it seems like every couple of years, like retro-looking appliances come back to be. I mean, they're not retro, but just look retro. It seems like every couple, or they always seem to be a sect of population that's always looking for old-looking appliances that work like new appliances.
Yes,
if that makes sense.
And there is a wide variety of those available today. There's so many companies that are doing it, and they're more of the premium style appliances, but those are available to people.
Absolutely, it's kind of like owning a 57 Chevy with fuel injection and all that other stuff. Same kind of deal.
Disc brakes all the way around.
Yeah, it's more modern and all that stuff. But come on by, of course, located right there, Country Club. What's the actual address there? The
111 West Country Club.
There you go. I just right there on Country Club next to
Stripes.
Right next to Stripes, and the I think it's a vet right there, and then the hospital.
Yeah. Yeah,
my Dr. Walker is my vet right there. Come on out there. Bushappliance.com is the website, or that'll get you there. I know at least, and you can go check it out. Do you guys do like Facebook or one of those social medias?
We do Facebook as well.
Okay, so like on there.
People like our page and follow our page,
and then finally, what's the tele if they want to just give you a call?
575-622-6390.
Very good. Come on. I highly recommend if you're in the market, get online. While you're sitting here this morning getting ready for your day. Go check out the website, kind of scroll through. You can mark by brand, you can by appliance, you can see if there's any rebate sales on certain ones, and boom, boom, you can get lost on that website.
And in most cases, the pricing that we have is way cheaper than what's on our website right
Good
now.
deal. So again, you look at that and say, all right, let's, and then come on down and let these
get
guys
the sale price,
make the deal.
Yeah, and then next thing you know, they're delivering a brand new appliance to your home. Good deal. Did we get anything we wanted to cover that we just spaced on?
I think we covered most bases.
The gamut?
Yeah.
Including the success of the Sports Illustrated football phone.
Way before their time.
Didn't even get to the Mickey Mouse phone. Well, thank you guys. I'm sure there's a few fires at the office for you to stomp out, so I'll let you go get to that.
Absolutely. We appreciate your time.
Yes,
appreciate
sir. Thank
you
you
getting us
very
on
much.
here.
Anytime, and thanks for the fridge, man. I've been happy ever since. We love it. So,
awesome. Thank you for your business.
Yeah, especially since it was replacing a gremlin before. Ooh, boy, how good was it? I mean, I was that. You ever seen the movie Office Space?
Yes.
You know the scene where they take that copier out to the field? I almost wanted to take that refrigerator out to the field and just go postal on it.
Hey, Tannerite's legal.
Yeah.
You know, you get enough of it, you can turn it to pieces.
Yeah.
Well,
You don't need much.
maybe I do it from afar. Some remotely triggered job or something of it. I want to do ill will things to that thing. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jason. We
We'll see y'all
appreciate it.
next
You
time.
have a good day.
You don't work too hard now. All right, it is 8:57. Let's take a quick break before we get into news. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters. And good. Yes, with Loan Depot will join us and for his monthly visit, talking home ownership and getting the money to do that. So that's next hour. Don't go away.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. President Trump is leaving no doubt about his support for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. The president asked about another signal chat controversy, specifically Hegseth sharing information about pending airstrikes on Yemen with his wife and others.
Here we go again. Just a waste of time. He is doing a great job.
Why do you still have confidence?
Because he's doing a great job.
Thanks, sir.
Ask the Houthis how he's doing.
A reference to the U.S. airstrikes on the Iran-backed rebels who, prior to those strikes, had repeatedly attacked commercial shipping in the Mideast. The White House says no classified information was shared by Hegseth. Virginia's Republican governor is tracking with the Trump administration's crackdown on criminal illegal aliens. He's taken hundreds of suspected gang members off the streets of the Commonwealth.
Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin is delivering on his promise to prioritize public safety and uphold the rule of law. In a significant victory for the Trump administration's agenda, Youngkin announced that the state's newly established Homeland Security Task Force has arrested more than 500 criminal illegal immigrants, including over 130 with known gang affiliations. According to Youngkin, of the 521 arrests made since the task force started in February, 132 are affiliated with gangs such as MS-13, Tren de Aragua, and other transnational organized crime organizations and criminal gangs. Bernie Bennett reporting.
The wife of former Democratic U.S. Senator Bob Menendez, Nadine Menendez, has been convicted on charges of teaming up with her husband to take bribes of cash, gold bars, and a luxury car. Bob Menendez to begin serving an 11-year prison term in June. And Pope Francis' funeral scheduled to take place Saturday, 4 a.m. Eastern Time. On Wall Street this morning, a rally is underway. The Dow is up 795 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 866-755-5300. That's 866-755-5300. Again, that's 866-755-5300. Call us right now.
The world's financial leaders have gathered in Washington this week for the World Bank and International Monetary Fund's spring meetings.
These meetings come at a tense moment for the International Monetary Fund and World Bank, with the US considering withdrawing from both institutions, raising questions about the future of global economic leadership. The US economy started strong this year, but the IMF is expected to lower its global growth forecast, blaming the fallout from President Trump's trade war. At the same time, President Trump's pressure on the Federal Reserve is fueling market jitters, shaking confidence in the central bank's independence, which is seen as vital to the health of the U.S. economy.
The BBC's Michelle Fleury. 4 House Democrats have traveled to El Salvador. It's a show of support for Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Living in the U.S. illegally, the suspected MS-13 gang member was deported by the Trump administration. Townhall.com. AI being used to monitor teenagers on social media.
Instagram is using artificial intelligence in order to crack down on teens lying about their age online. Its parent company Meta announced Monday that it's currently in the testing phase in the U.S. The software is designed to find accounts that are believed to be teenage profiles, which would then put them into the teen account settings. The tech giant said it's been using AI to verify ages for a while, but this is the first time this specific method is being used. Tasha Stevens reporting.
It might be referred to as the Trump effect. To avoid higher tariffs, Swiss pharmaceutical giant Roche says it will invest $50 billion in the U.S. over the coming 5 years. New manufacturing that Roche says will create some 12,000 jobs. That's in addition to the 25,000 people already employed by the drug maker in the U.S. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travelation, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3.
Tres Inviernos.
Of Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Tuesday.
Yep.
It's just Tuesday.
It's just Tuesday. I mean, it's technically Earth Day, so, do your part.
Yeah. Taco Tuesday.
Yeah. It is Taco Tuesday. Talk about it Tuesday. 2 for Tuesday, some places.
What about taquitos?
You can, you know what, you could shake it up. We've had this conversation. Tostada Tuesday. I mean, that's the beauty of the Mexican the menu is many items start with T.
I know.
Tripitas Tuesday.
But why does it got to be even Mexican? I mean,
Tortellini Tuesday.
Exactly. Or Tiramisu Tuesday.
Ooh, Tiramisu Tuesdays. I like that.
I mean, we got so many tea foods we could go with.
Yep.
Let's get a little variety.
Let's get
in our life.
fancy with it.
Yeah. How about let me think. What other be good tea? How about well, it's kind of simple, but it's tomato soup and grilled cheese.
Ooh, see, it's too sunny out for that, I feel.
I don't know. I can
Although
always go for some tomato soup and grilled
I
cheese.
have gotten to an age where I am very rarely one to turn down soup.
Yeah.
I like a good soup.
I do too.
I'm a
Weird.
fan.
I remember as a kid, I hated soup. Like if mom made stew, I was disappointed.
Right? You're like, oh.
Now I'm like, yeah.
That sounds hearty and delicious. Somebody put up a meme one time that says, I love soup. Flavored water with a bunch of food floating in it. Sounds awesome.
Well, if you flavored right, it is.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the problem. I mean, using that logic, you're just eating a piece of meat flavored. Yes, you are.
Dude,
that's exactly what it is.
I got to tell you, I've rarely have I enjoyed a food so much that it has been the only thing I can think about. Like I've had other foods since I've had this food, but nothing stands up to it. Nothing compares. And it was that simple hand batter dipped deep fried corn dog that I had last week.
I saw
from
your
that
post
establishment.
like 2 days later, but I did see it.
Yeah. It's called Crossroads. It's out there on the Crossroads at Old Dexter Highway. But it was the best corn dog I've ever had in my life, and I've been nonstop thinking about it ever since. Like I'm like, counting down
It's
the
in your
days till
dreams.
payday so I can get out there and get me another one.
Get the man a corn dog.
It's one of those things that just like there's very rarely a food that just reserves a place of honor in your head.
I mean, it's a homemade corn dog, so I get it. But like, what specifically is making you dream of it?
It was
Is there a certain crunch to it?
It was
a certain
the bite. It was
yeah.
the batter, like the way it was. Specifically, the way I described it was kind of underdone in the middle, so you still kind of had that moisture of the batter.
Okay.
It was just perfectly well
Just
done.
hit
It
the
was
right
just
spot.
executed perfectly.
Just hit the spot
Yep.
perfectly.
There was used to be the old Schlotsky sandwich had that reserved spot where it's like, oh, I'm not going to be whole again until I get another one of those in me.
You know, now here's something. Now, I'm not trying to belittle the corn dog that
No,
you had
sure.
because it sounds like it's delightful. But I am a fan of the Foster Farms jalapeno cheese corn dogs. Here's the rub. Somewhere around COVID, they stopped carrying those in stores. Like I never see them anymore.
Yeah, you're hard pressed to find the jalapeno ones specifically.
They used to have them every time. They'd be right there next to the regular ones or whatever they had, and then sometimes they start throwing gluten-free ones up there. And now I occasionally look, and they're never there. And it don't matter what grocery store, all of them don't carry it anymore. Whether it's Albertsons, Walmart, Farmers, none of them have it.
That's interesting. I know a lot of the corner store establishments, the convenience stores.
Yeah, they still have.
They do the Foster Farms jalapeno ones specifically.
Yeah, but I liked the box of them
I
that I
understand.
threw in my toaster over anyone. Now they're not homemade and they're not that good, but those specific ones just hit a certain like to be honest, I don't like the regular ones compared to these. Like I want like these. I'm like, oh, these are so inferior. I just like I poo-poo the corn dog now because I don't get my jalapeno cheese one.
I kind of want that on a shirt. I poo-poo the corn dog. And I understand. It's just not the same. You know what it was? I think that you had it too good.
Maybe.
The fates looked down upon you and said,
"Now
he's got it way too good."
I know how
Mike just had found out he has access to a soft serve machine. He's got it way too good.
I know how I acquired this taste. It's from working in Artesia.
Yeah.
Because my routine was I'd get up at dark 30 or whatever to head to Artesia. I lived on the south end at that time. And so I'd literally get on, I'd basically head out onto Brasher as I'm leaving out, and I would stop at that Stripes right there on the corner of Brasher and South Main. I'd stop in there every morning. I'd get my big beverage, and I usually get 2 jalapeno and cheese corn dogs. That was my breakfast. On the way to Artesia, I'd eat those 2 jalapenos, and they were just delightful for me. I loved, and I was mad the days they didn't have the jalapeno. I was like, all right, give me the regular ones. Dang.
Fine, I guess. I'll slim it down here with
my go-to was always. And then I went to the store, and I was like, oh my goodness, they're here, and I would buy them all the time because I just.
I worry though that now that I've experienced corn dog apex, that those store-bought corn dogs are not going to be the same.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't think they would be.
Probably. That's what I'm saying. You may,
I might have ruined myself.
Ruined.
Well, the place also does fried cheese on a stick too, so I'm going back.
Right. Well, you got to support it a lot. Otherwise,
it
goes away.
Right.
So what's the name of the restaurant?
Crossroads. Crossroads Express.
Nice.
Free plug.
Are they relatively new?
Yeah, relatively. Actually, it was a genius idea. They opened up right there, at that Crossroads section because there's nothing out there between here and Dexter.
Right.
For people who work out there in the oil field, the dairies, that whole thing. They're just driving through, grab coffee and a burrito in the morning, grab some lunch right there. It's a way quicker.
Do they
trip
like
than
sit
driving
down
to town.
food, or is it more like
they have? And that's the thing. It started as like a convenience store, but they have a couple of tables now.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're slowly expanding.
Okay.
But
so like what other fare is everything like corn dogs and
cheeseburgers?
Things like,
they have a flat top grill, so they do like breakfast stuff.
Okay. So burritos and mostly hand foods.
Mostly hand foods, burritos. I think they're starting to do like pancakes and stuff now.
Okay. Some
few
sit down items.
Few sit down items.
Okay.
Lunch stuff burgers. They have a killer green chili cheeseburger.
Nice.
See, now
I've heard nothing wrong yet.
We're just free advertising at this point. But it's literally
the first one's free. We'll give you a taste.
There you go. It's literally just it's as mom and pop as you get. It's this couple that decided, we have this flat top grill, we have this location, we're gonna open up.
We're gonna make burgers.
Yep.
We got a big bowl. We got a big old bucket of lemons. Guess who'll make some lemonade?
We're making lemonade, boys.
Good. Sounds delightful.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
It's rare you get a homemade corn dog nowadays.
But now I feel the need to track down a box of those corn dogs for you.
Oh my gosh.
Now let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Have you? Because I know how you operate.
Uh-huh.
Have you checked online?
Like when I've seen it available, it's like you got to order like it through Walmart, but then you got to order like a case of them, and I like them. I don't want 30 boxes of them.
Yeah,
or
no,
however many come in a case.
Right.
I want just
now I understand that's the older times with a lot of it, but
yeah,
nowadays you can generally speaking get a lot of things
like on Amazon or something. Maybe
I would check Amazon. Maybe not. Maybe go to the source. I bet you can get them off Foster Farms website. Yep. I'm gonna do some gumshoeing for you, and we'll find them.
Although, Foster Farms, why you make it so hard to get me something? Like,
why you got to bury such a good thing?
Yeah. Why you made it available to the masses?
Now
you reel it in.
It's funny though because you're experiencing sort of a microcosm of something I've experienced my entire life.
Yeah.
And that is when you have a snack that's available and then it's just gone. They just discontinue it.
I've had that my whole life.
Oh, I'm sure you have too.
To this day, I'm still mad that Walmart discontinued those bagel chicken strip things. Like there was this bag that I found in there, and it's literally they put like a naked chicken strip that they wrapped in bagel dough.
Oh.
And then you throw it in the oven for or microwave. It didn't matter. And it was delightful. It was a quick on the go thing, and I haven't seen it in 10 years. But I remember seeing it many, many moons ago, and then it went away, and I was sad inside.
Yeah, it's things like that. But there was a national one that got me. When I was a kid, hooked, not even adolescent to young adult, hooked on these. They're called PB Crisps.
Oh, I remember those.
Planters made them.
Yeah, I remember
they
those.
were these crunchy little cookie on the outside and peanut butter on the inside.
Yeah.
They were delightful. And they just went away one day.
Yeah.
There's still online campaigns about trying to find these things.
Yeah.
Or bringing it back.
Well, come on. I've really literally done steak bagel. How many times was that? Finally, they listened. They finally listened. That was one.
You're not going to believe this. I'm on the Foster Farms website.
Yes.
They've got the Honey Crunch. They've got the or Honey Crunchy, which is their honey.
That's their
ones.
general one, the basic one.
And then they've got the minis of that variety.
Yeah.
And that's it.
See?
They might have commercially got rid of the jalapeno.
What is
cheese
wrong with you?
Corn dog.
Why? It's the only best thing you have.
Yeah, it's all y'all had going for you.
There's no point of Foster Farm without there where you're growing these corn dogs at your farm.
You know what? I didn't think about that. Could I take my own dog out there and have her corn it for me? Like, what if I got like some better cheddars? You know what I'm saying? Like those thick cheddar brats. I wonder if I could have her corn my dog.
Maybe.
That sounds so bad, but I meant well.
See, this makes me mad.
Okay, so I'm now on Walmart.com, and we got jalapeno corn dogs. What I typed in.
Yes.
And wow, nothing.
They're gone, man.
They're gone.
This is a mystery, and it's upsetting. I want to get to the bottom of this.
They've got classic corn dogs and jalapeno hot dog and or brat varieties.
Yeah. No.
Dude, you might actually be onto a conspiracy here.
I'm so upset about it.
I'm upset for you. This is wrong.
I just want a Foster Farms jalapeno and cheese corn dog.
All right, I need to get the Foster Farms people on the phone ASAP.
Give me Big Foster.
You got some questions to answer, Mr. Foster. My dad, John Foster Farms.
I want a jalapeno cheese corn dog in every home by the end of the decade.
And breakfast fish sandwich.
Right. Still ain't seen that yet.
Right?
Jeez. All right, 9:18. Let me give you the rundown for this hour of the show. We'll get you up to date with the weather and all that here in just a bit. Shortly thereafter, Elliot Rodriguez will join us here from Loan Depot. He'll pop in for his monthly visit and talk procuring the finances for homeownership. So that's what we have great conversations about. So they'll do that here in a minute. But first, your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty nice today. We'll be in the mid-80s on the afternoon high. The wind should stay fairly light. We've got a big high-pressure system parked overhead, so we get sunshine through the day. Clear for the overnight hours, and we're in the mid-50s, and then a mix of sun and clouds in the morning on Wednesday, but sunny in the afternoon. The wind will pick up a little bit, 15 to 25 miles an hour, and tomorrow's high in the upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
And thank you, Steve. Currently 61 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 31%. Winds currently out of the north at 7 miles per hour. Look out for them isolated sprinkles that they're saying we might get this afternoon after 3 o'clock today. But we will be getting hot. Sunny and 87. Winds will be out of the southeast 10 to 15 this afternoon. The isolated sprinkles chances continue till about 9 p.m. this evening with increasing clouds and an overnight low of 55 tonight. South winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. Wednesday, we're going to be lingering in the upper 80s, 88, and breezy. Excuse me, hiccups. South winds 10 to 20 miles per hour tomorrow. Wednesday night, we're looking at clear skies and an overnight low of 55. South winds 5 to 15. Thursday, another sunny and warm day, 88 for a high there. South winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. And then Friday, sunny. Once again, a high of 88. Man, well, if you play the lottery, maybe 88, a lot of eights in that thing. I feel like it might hit for you this week. But 88 on Friday. Then the rain chances that were pretty good yesterday for the weekend are now less good. Friday night, we're looking at a 20% chance of rain after midnight, partly cloudy, 57 for an overnight low. A 30% chance of rain Saturday, partly cloudy and 87, and then sunny and 90 for your Sunday. All right, 9:21. We're going to take a 3-minute break, and then on the other side, Elliot Rodriguez will join us with Loan Depot. Don't go away.
Hey, Roswell, during these unprecedented times when others are raising prices, Roswell Ford is lowering ours with employee pricing for everyone. So you pay what we pay. Only at Roswell Ford. Make no payments for 90 days. Upside down in your current vehicle and want out early? Roswell Ford can help you get out of your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth, regardless of make, miles, or condition. So you can pay what we pay today with employee pricing to all customers on new Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs. And our aggressive finance team will push to approve your credit, even if it's less than perfect. Attention business owners, Roswell Ford has a great selection of commercial vehicles, and we have them for less. Plus, Roswell Ford offers mobile services, so our certified technicians will come to you and perform oil changes, tire rotations, batteries, recalls, and more. Contact us for details. For massive American-made savings and employee pricing for everyone, get on board at Roswell Ford, 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell. Call 575-623-3673 or online at roswellford.com. Interest accrues from date of sale on select vehicles. Trade balance refinanced to new loan subject to lender approval. Offers not combined. Expires at month's end.
This is the time of year we can get all 4 seasons in just one day. Hi, this is Ben Manette from Roswell Seed Company. 1 minute you're sweating in the sun, and the next minute you've got slush in your shoes. But that's winter in Roswell. And after 127 years, we're starting to get used to it. It's too early to plant very much, but you can fertilize pecan trees, spray for dandelions, order your bees, and pick up a new seed catalog. So come see us at Roswell Seed. Like Jim Gill would say, enjoy the warm days, but don't go far from the fire.
Injury, surgery, or illness can set you back, but you don't have to recover alone. At Artesia General Hospital, our rehabilitation services team provides physical, occupational, and speech therapy to help you regain strength, mobility, and confidence. Take the next step toward recovery. Call 575-736-8174 today to schedule an appointment and get back to living life to the fullest.
Step up to the plate and save at Roswell Honda. Now through the end of the month, the bases are loaded with savings, so you can score a home run and drive home a winner. Like 2.99% APR for 48 months on new Honda HRVs, 2.99% for 36 months on new Pilot, or 1.99% for 36 months on new Honda Ridgeline. Plus, major league savings across the lot on a huge selection of new and pre-owned vehicles. Step up to the plate and drive it home. Now through the end of the month at Roswell Honda, 2177 West 2nd.
On Friday, May 9th at 7 p.m., experience the Doo-Wop Project at the Spencer Theater for the Performing Arts. Trace the evolution of doo-wop with timeless tunes from legends like Frankie Valli, the Drifters, and the Del Vikings, as well as doo-wopified versions of modern favorites by Michael Jackson, Jason Mraz, and Maroon 5. Get your tickets online at spencertheater.com or call the box office at 575-336-4800. We'll see you at the Spencer.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. The ball on top of a flagpole is called a truck. Mess with your friends today by pointing at a flagpole and say, "Hey, check out the truck on top of that flagpole." Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 24 minutes after 9 o'clock, and joining us in studio, Elliot Rodriguez with Loan Depot back with us. Good morning, Elliot.
Good morning, Roswell.
How's life at the office this morning?
It's going bananas.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. I mean, we're busy. There's so much to do.
I said there's a lot of. I'm starting to see more and more houses pop up on the market and things like that.
Yes, that's true. It's happening because I see more houses becoming available.
A lot more for sale signs.
There's more houses being built.
Now, they're still asking a lot of money for them.
Yes, they are. And stuff is stuff for the market as far as my customers, because, I mean, let's be realistic. We're in Roswell. We're not in Albuquerque.
Sure.
You know?
Well, and that's where you have to worry, because at the end of the day, a lending institution like Loan Depot is not in the business of lending you money for facilities and structures that are not appraising at those numbers. And you can put whatever listing price you want on a house, but if it doesn't appraise at that, you're not going to get more money than that. You're just not, because no one's going to pay that, and there's no lending institution that's going to give you more than what it's appraised for on a house.
Yeah, and it's becoming pretty interesting what's happening, because, like, I have agents come in and ask me, "So, are you guys busy?" It's like, to be honest, and not being fair to say, you know, I almost feel like Roswell. You know how I used to say that Roswell, like, is in a little bubble?
Yeah.
I feel like Ellie's in a little bubble. Because it's like I hear all these different stories from other people and everything, and like, "Oh, we don't have enough business. We don't have this. We don't have that." It's like, where in God's name you been?
Right.
You know? I was watching a movie that the guy actually have amnesia, you know, and he wake up and there was a whole crazy things going on in the world. And now he's, you know, he doesn't remember everything. Everybody's like, "Where you been? On the rock?"
Right.
You know? And I hear this over and over. It's like, and my boss and I talk about this all the time. It's like, "Ellie, you barely have time to do anything here and there." It's like, I don't know how I do it, but I do it.
Sure.
Now that I have a team, you know, I have an awesome team, and they're going to be helping me be able to take care of everybody even better.
Well, and this is why you're busy, is because you guys go the extra mile for your clients. You turn over every rock, whether they're a first-time buyer or their 37th home. You treat them you the same. You give them. And matter of fact, you probably do more for the first timer, because you're educating. You're kind of being a Sherpa for them, where the person's bought 38 times.
It's a touch and go kind of situation.
Yeah,
you know,
where the person that's bought a home 37 times is probably a little more savvy on this, and probably, you know, you're just trying to. They're probably dictating what they want. You're just making it happen.
Sometimes they act like they're first time buyers still.
Well, and that's,
but you know why? Everybody's different.
Sure.
You know,
well, here's the thing. You may be the expert or this person may be the expert in the process, but you haven't bought a home in a year or two or whatever. You know, things change every time, and that's where you guys come in, because the moment these interest rates change, or just a shift in the way they do lending, this stuff happens all the time.
No, I know. And folks, you know, if you have that issue, I always say it.
Yeah.
To buy a home, thinking about when the rate's going to get better and this and that, I'm going to wait, it's not the answer.
Yeah, you're going to play a game for a long time if you're waiting for the perfect storm.
That can come fast. That can take longer. We do not know.
Yeah.
You know, and just to educate people, everybody keeps talking about the Fed's going to go and lower the interest rate. Folks, that is not lowering the interest rate for mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me. I said that mortgage is the ticking, clock for the United States because let's be honest, buying and selling, real estate is the biggest.
It's the true mark of wealth in this country.
Country, let's be honest. But as much as the government is, they don't love us that much. So it doesn't work like that.
Government's never your friend.
Yeah, they're not in our side.
I don't care who's in office or not in office. At some point, you're complaining about the government.
Let's put it like this, folks. Here. It's called regulators for a reason.
Yeah.
Okay? They regulate us what we do.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm making a point about this is I want people out there to kind of learn a little something that, because I get this ask every day. Where are the rates and this and that? The rates have not changed. So if you go back to August last year and to today, we basically the same.
Mm-hmm.
It went up and down, up and down, up and down, and we were exactly where we were.
We're in the same point we were.
We were. Yeah. And when we're talking about the Feds cutting the interest rate, folks, we're talking about the 30-year bonds, okay, and the 10-year Treasury. All right. So we're not talking about mortgage per se directly. Is it going to affect mortgage? Yes, it will.
Now, does this set the tea leaves for eventually we're going to see?
Exactly.
Like this is, look, they haven't done it yet, but this is the path they're going down.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just haven't hit that step yet.
For the folks out there that are a little more into like the mortgage and they paying attention and they go on Google and they deal with the market and everything a little more than other people. What is happening right now, I believe, is like the system is trying to reset itself.
Gotcha.
Folks, when Trump was in office before, it was like going up, 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 up. The fact of the matter is, and I mean up in the positive way, folks, okay? The fact of the matter is, the bubble will bust if we go too low or if we go too high. So there's the market either, and that's what they were talking about, that the market's going to crash and they're going to reset. The Feds and all and the market have the power to do it if they needed to. But remember, it's money. It's everybody else's money. Everybody's playing with their money.
Sure.
So it's not that simple to say, yeah, one day we're going to reset and change it, because it's not fair to the folks that have lost money and all that kind of stuff. Start from scratch.
Start the depression all over again.
Yeah. You can't. So what I think is happening, for what I'm seeing, okay, is the system almost in some ways going to heal itself little by little. And that's why it keeps going up and down. And for the past week, it got really positive.
They're trying to correct it without blowing it up. Basically.
Exactly. So, so if you guys pay attention, now the ideal that saying the rate's going to go drop, that's going to take a while, folks. Because let me go a little farther. So if a person was going to get a 7.5 interest rate,
sure,
and I'm talking about FHA or conventional, whatever and even BA, okay. A lot of people, we discussed about the cost of what it takes to get that interest rate.
Right.
And we talk about, par. Par means you get an interest rate and you're not paying nothing extra.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And just to dumb it even more, and I'm not trying to call people dumb out there. It's just, this is not what you guys do every day.
Sure.
What I mean with par, it means it's not costing you nothing extra to get that interest rate.
Sure.
Okay. And a lot of people, confuse the closing cost and closing for the loan itself, plus your down payment. So everybody gets a little confused about how all that stuff works.
Right.
Okay. And that's
which is easy to do, by the way.
It's very easy because this is not what you do every day.
Yeah.
So, folks, put it like this. I'm like the dictionary.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I'm putting extra words in the dictionary, so I had to reinvent the wheel when it comes to like explaining.
And this is all partly by design.
Oh, yes.
At the end of the day, what we're talking about here is someone giving you more than likely 6 figures in money to buy something.
And folks, let's go back to what we talked about before. If your lender is asking you, I'm just gonna put it like this.
Yeah.
If your lender is asking you to give them blood, give them blood.
Yeah.
Okay. They're not asking you for stuff because they just feel like it's a good idea to mess with you, and I'm gonna ask you to give me more extra stuff. No. If a lender, I don't care who the lender is, okay, is asking you, I need this, I need that. Get it for them.
Absolutely.
Now, if the lender's asking you for the same thing over and over, obviously something is missing, that the individual is asking you for the same thing because you're maybe not giving them what is required,
the right thing.
They should be explaining why they're asking you for the same thing over and over.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Be transparent.
Yeah,
about
be
it.
transparent
Yeah.
a little better. Maybe you're missing a page. Okay.
Sure.
Maybe you're giving them the wrong month statement, and they're asking you for the new one, and you keep giving them the same thing. If they don't tell you why they're asking when you are giving them the same thing 2 or 3 times, obviously something is missing.
Sure.
And it's all about communication.
Well, and that's just it. It gets really weird where something as simple as you forgot to pay a $10 late fee on something.
Honest to God, yes, it is.
It messes the whole works up, and then you get that taken care of, and next thing you know, the C's part and everything works all of a sudden. Yeah.
But what I'm talking about is about the cost of what it is to buy a home. So you got closing costs, okay? You got closing costs from title, and then you got your closing costs for the loan itself.
Sure.
A lot of times when the agents are talking about, going to go half and half, on the closing costs, they're talking about title, folks. Okay, they're not talking about your loan. They're not talking about your points. They're not talking about the origination or the underwriting fees from the lender.
On the actual property.
Exactly.
Itself. Yeah.
They're only talking about something different. So be careful if you're not understanding what your agent is telling you. But going back to what I was saying, it's going to take a while before we get to parts. It means when you get an interest rate of 7.5 or 6.5 or 5 or whatever we end up being in the end, that is not costing extra to get to that number.
Sure.
Okay. And this is very important. And your lender should be explaining this to you. If they don't tell you anything about it at all, a lot of my guys are trying to teach them this. So I was telling Kelly yesterday. Okay, so. If it's MFA, which is the first-time home buying program from the state of New Mexico, folks, they got a set interest rate. If we're doing regular FHA, conventional, or VA, the interest rate you're getting is going to have some kind of cost or some kind of credit depending on the circumstances.
Gotcha.
Okay? At that moment, when we're going to lock your loan, we need to ask you, we're going to lock it at this. This is what it's costing. You want me to leave it there? Do you want me to push the envelope a little?
Mm-hmm.
This is my opinion. This is if for better terms, this is the sweet spot that is costing a little, but it's not costing too much.
Sure.
In that way, you don't spend too much money because when the market truly gets better, and folks, it's
it's
coming. It's going to happen. How fast? Don't be just sitting down waiting for that because don't use that as the point of reference that you're going to buy a house.
Yeah.
Because then you may not never buy a house.
Well, guess what? In 2 years from now, the interest rate does drop. You can refinance.
Exactly.
And now you're getting the house you wanted. Now you're getting at the interest rate.
And that's the reason why I'm bringing this point into conversation because we don't talk enough about that, okay? And we haven't really talked about this, right? Yeah, we haven't. So it's very important for you folks to know. Now, if you're using the program dictates the interest rate. That's a different story.
Sure.
When you're buying a regular home, you have the choice to. A lot of people come to me and ask me what interest rate you have. It's like, well, I don't have any interest rate.
It depends on what you're buying.
It depends on your circumstances.
What's going on here. Yeah.
And it's funny because it's a very big misconception.
Also depends on how long the loan is and everything else.
Yeah,
too.
there's so many different things.
A 15-year loan and a 30-year loan do not have the same interest rate.
No, do not. Okay, and folks, APR, annual percent, interest. Okay. Basically, it's not the interest rate that you are paying every month. That's the cost of your loan. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, and I have, some very, very interesting, ask questions lately because, well, what's my APR? It's like, oh, sure, I don't never get this question.
Yeah.
It's like your API is basically the cost of doing your loan.
Sure.
So if you are 6.5, you may be at 7.1. And everybody gets a little too attached to like, oh, I wanted that to be the lowest as
Everyone
possible.
loves to have a bragging point about something they did, and interest rate on your home has always been that.
It's going to be the
I'm
same.
At 0%. Oh, I'm at 1%. You know what I mean? It's a bragging thing. It really is.
But the thing is this, in the end of the day, it's what it costs you to do the loans at once when you close. That's it.
Sure.
It doesn't carry the whole entire year, for 30 years.
Yeah.
You pay that. It's part of your loan from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Okay? And a lot of people, I think they're getting a little hang up because I actually had a deal that I said, well, they're going to do that. You go over there. I'm sorry. Okay? But are they going to take care of you? Are they going to do the right thing for you? That's a big different question.
Sure.
Okay? Because they were like, oh, so you're going to be at 7.1, but there are 6.8. It's like we're talking about pennies here, folks.
Sure.
Because we're not talking about like $10,000 of cost, anything like that.
The bigger deals would be at that point is how much you're putting down, how much do you have to put down, there's a lot bigger questions there. At that point, you're 6.8, 7.1 or whatever it is.
Correct.
You're probably, like you said, you're talking minuscule numbers.
And I know I said pennies. I know I'm probably talking about tens of dollars or hundreds of dollars,
sure,
if anything. But just to give you an illustration on what I'm trying to talk about. So don't be too hung up on that. What you should be hung up on is what are your interest rates going to be for the rest of the time of the loan?
Sure.
That is the most important part, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people get a little too hung up on that, and that's why they go shopping and jumping all over the place. And then they go somewhere else that they offer them, it's going to cost this much. And then in the end of the day, it actually costs them more.
Sure. Well, you forget that there's a caveat or a loophole or some other
or something
that you missed.
What's the name of that movie? The bacon. What is it? Switch on bake. The switch and bacon switch.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I forgot the name of that.
Rope-a-dope kind of deal, but
because the folks, your loan officer should be as straightforward with you on everything that you're doing.
Absolutely.
All right, this is another thing that drives me bananas. I never understand that. My company, when you do an application, you know right away what your interest rate is. I mean, your credit score is.
Sure.
Okay. I get a lot of folks that say, I went social this, and that. I say, okay, so what was your credit score? And they don't know.
It's like, go to Credit Karma, you can find it 2 minutes. And
that's true. But
I'll give you a ballpark number.
Well, how can you do an application with somebody and you don't even know what your credit score is?
Sure.
I'm finding that
or at least ballpark.
I know, that's my point. It's
because everything's ballpark. Because you go to 3 different places, you get 3 different numbers, and you kind of ballpark it. But,
I know. And I was thinking about that. It's like, wait a minute. Why they're not communicating and telling you this and that?
All I know is people that have good credit know they have good credit.
That is very true. and I'm gonna go farther. This is not to offend anybody out there. And the people that have bad credit, they also know they have bad credit.
Sure. But they're also in a state of denial where maybe it's not as bad as I think. They don't know. They'd be like, it could be 600, it could be 400. I don't know. You know what I mean?
All right, folks. I want to give you something good for everybody out there, too. All right, so I got a phone call this morning, and the agent asked me, where do you send your customers that have bad credit? All right, folks, you're going to love this. I do not send anybody anywhere, okay? My team and we take care of you.
You work with them.
We'll tell you what you need to do.
If you're committed, we'll be committed,
exactly.
And we're going to be your Sherpa to get your credit to where it needs to be.
Exactly. You're going to be invested in what you're going to do. We're going to be invested in you.
Well, and that's just it. These credits, especially nowadays where there's so many different variables, you can literally
make it worse.
You could do, but the others conversely is true. Is you could literally pay one thing or do one thing, and then your credit score jumps 50 points like that. It's really very volatile.
No, that's true. and to be honest, and to be factual, there are companies out there that do help you.
Sure.
Okay. So don't take my word, like the word of God or anything like that, because
and this is kind of like
I'm talking about in general.
Sure.
If you come to me, if you come to one of my team, all right, we're gonna take care of you.
Sure.
And we do have the programs to help you and tell you what you need to do to increase your credit score.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna send you somewhere and then we just forget about you.
Well, like back in the day, way back in the day, it was more about, you have bills. Do you pay your bills on time? If you do, your credit's good. That's one little part of credit scores now. Now it's your debt to income ratio, and
there's
how
so much into it that
and you could have a
crazy.
lot of credit and no debt, and that's still bad for you. Or the vice, you can literally have like 6 credit cards, but if you have no debt on them, that's not a good thing either.
I remember,
and that's what we're talking about.
I remember when I was at West Fargo and when I was coming back to lending again.
Yeah.
So for folks that are out there that don't know my true history, okay, or you've been listening a little and you know a little, I want to give you a little small, tiny, if you may, history, okay? So I'm from Puerto Rico. I speak 2 languages. Actually, I understand a little Portuguese, by the way. All right, but I speak Spanish and English, so I can help pretty much all our community in a good way, okay? If you're speaking other languages, we got way, and now we got apps that help us with that, so it don't matter anymore.
Don't come in hitting them with Klingon.
I know, exactly. Yeah, don't talk to me in Klingon.
I speak Klingon. Well, good for you. I'm not talking to you in Klingon.
So I started. I'm ex-military, so I was in the army. Okay, I joined the military. When I got out of the Army, I ended up in Colorado Springs. In Colorado Springs, I ended up selling vacuum cleaners. Okay. Actually, first I was...
Kirby's, right?
No, Electrolux.
Oh, Electrolux. Okay.
First, I ended up doing, some kind of security guard at first.
Okay.
But then I ended up...
It's that same thing with all guys and gals that get out of the military.
They go in security for some
or
crazy reason.
You're spinning your wheels for your teeth, trying to figure out your niche. If you're,
I know, right?
You didn't have one already planned. Yeah.
Then I was gonna work with Prudential as an insurance, an investor agent, right? That didn't plan out the way it's supposed to, and I ended up with Electrolux, and I worked for them for like almost 10 years.
Oh.
Okay, so yeah, I got issue, folks. I'm very loyal. I stick to the game. No, and so after that, I came to New Mexico because I went to like 6 different states. Okay. So I ended up coming to New Mexico. I went to Carlsbad. I went to Alamogordo, Las Cruces. You name it, all over the place. Here, Clovis. I came back here. Actually, that's how I met my wife. I tried to sell her a vacuum cleaner.
Oh, nice.
And she didn't buy though. She didn't buy. But
at least not at first.
Not at first. So I started going back and forth to New Mexico and Colorado. And when I was in Colorado, I decided to, start investing here in Roswell. And that's when, the Flexi stuff really kicked in. Okay. Back in 2006 and 2007. Yeah. Okay. And I went from that to, slow down on the vacuum cleaner business. All right. And
at some point, the business sucks.
It sure did, too. No, but at the same time, folks, it was the best thing I ever did.
Sure. Well, you grew up. That's where you grew up, right?
Well, yeah.
That's where you learned.
That's where I learned how to sell and everything, folks.
Military, you start there, but sometimes afterwards you really do some of the growing up. Yeah.
I look at it like the military gave me the backbone of it, and the selling vacuums gave me the sales part.
But here's the thing: at the end of the day, the military takes care of everything, so you really don't have for want, even when you know what I mean. And then you get out and you're like, oh, there's no chow I can just roll up to eat for free.
So we end up in Colorado Springs still after we invested here in Roswell. I went back to Colorado because I have homes there and everything, and I decided to switch, and I almost became literally a teller, at a bank, and they were doing teller positions and banking positions, and I already been doing loans for myself.
Gotcha.
I did my VA loan, which the loan officer didn't help me that much, by the way, folks.
Okay? You had the aptitude for it already.
So I was already doing small loans and so on. So I ended up going to TCF Bank. It's a small, tiny bank that is not in all 50 states. And I ended up taking a position from them. And then I instead of becoming a banker, the lady, they were doing an open house, job, fair. And I ended up getting a junior loan officer position.
Okay.
She said, I got a better job for you. Since you've been doing little loans and you've been doing this, you've been doing that, and you've been going door to door. I got a job for you. So I got a phone call from the VP from the area where I was driving home that they wanted for me to come back and see me again.
Sure.
And they gave me an opportunity. I became a junior officer, just like my guys, become with me.
Sure.
Okay.
Then you learned your rope.
And I learned my rope. And in 1 year, I had my own branch. So I was a branch manager in Colorado Springs.
Okay. You were hustling right out the gate.
Right away. They didn't even want me to leave. My wife's like, let's go back to New Mexico. It's too cold over here. and he's like, I'll take it to back north with my sister, so she'll see cold, and then Colorado Springs will be that cold.
So bad.
So we ended up coming over here. When I came over here, I didn't have a job. I was trying to get to some of the banks in here to try to become the lender because that's what I was doing.
Sure.
So it was in my blood, about doing loans. It's being the craziest, the coolest, and the biggest experience that I ever have. And I like helping people. So, I couldn't get a position to become a lender again. So I took the best thing possible real quick because, I was the outsider in town.
Got to eat, right? Yeah.
I took a position as a banker at West Fargo. Okay. And I moved up the chain, and West Fargo really got me established here in town because I became the business banker. That's how we met, you know.
You built your relationship.
And I built a relationship.
Yeah.
So I owe West Fargo a lot.
Sure.
Okay.
They got your foot in the door here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So from that, I kept doing, banking back and forth. And then I ended up working, as a lender again afterwards, because they were stupid enough to let me go. Anyway.
And then
that was Elias,
sure,
lusting in there a little.
Well, and then life happens.
No, things happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like my wife says, I'm so bad, dude, that if they don't kick me out some way, I'll still be there right now. And
loyal to a fault.
Well,
sometimes.
the way she says is like God wanted something else for you.
Sure, I get that. I understand that.
And sometimes, so I went back to lending, and I love doing lending. So eventually, what I ended up doing is working, and I started doing really good, because I already did it before. A lot of people didn't know, but I don't drop names, I don't drop positions in titles, because in the end of the day, you are your own person.
Sure.
You are your own title. You own your name. If why am I going to do that? Sometimes I say I was a little naive. Maybe I should have. Maybe I would have moved even faster.
Sure.
But in the end of the day, it's fine.
Well, and also to what you do and how you work, and I think your ability to kind of be humble about that kind of stuff is what also invites people to talk and listen. And
exactly,
because now you're talking to them as a peer, not talking down to them, and that makes sense. You know what I mean? And I don't care what anybody says, humans resonate better.
Well, it's very true. I mean, in the end of the day, I guess the water went the wrong way.
Down the wrong pipe. So went down the wrong pipe.
In the end of the day, I went from one thing to the next and ended up back 100% where I started.
Yeah.
So I literally, in some ways, became a junior officer. No, I wasn't a junior officer. I was just a regular.
You kind of went to the world and found your passion is back where you started from the beginning.
Yeah, I came back to it. And as funny as it is, for many reasons, personal and business, I decided to take the chance to go with Loan Depot after the fact of the stuff that I did in town.
Sure. Well, it's about reputation, about their experience, where they come from, and this is something we've talked about just about every time you come on. Loan Depot is kind of fired in the same kiln, so to speak, here, whereas this company started with a bunch of people in other places doing the same thing and saying, man, there's a better way to do this, and we're going to start our own company. And
I know it's funny because they were talking about that, on a call not too long ago, and how they were like 19 of them. I mean, it's like they started with 19 people.
Yeah,
I mean that's some crazy stuff.
Now in the top 5 in the world in institutions of lending, in a short period of time.
Yes, that's true. I mean, folks, we've been in business for 13 years.
Yeah,
I don't even know if we want to even call ourselves a teenager.
Right.
I mean, seriously.
Well, it's kind of funny. I've owned my home for going on 8 years now. Mm-hmm. So they were really brand new when I went through Loan Depot.
And sometimes I was like, wow, what if I would have cut the name Loan Depot and when I came here in town, and I would have gone and started working with them? Because, folks, the way our business works is our records they speak for us.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we are bound by license for the state of New Mexico and with the feds and everything. So everything that I do is right there.
Sure.
So if you ever want to check, not my Facebook or anything like that, you could go to the MLS site and you can find anything about what I've been doing all these years.
Yeah.
But
it's all public record in one way, shape, or form.
And I was like, what if I would have started with Loan Depot a long time ago? What would it been? But you know what? Sure. That's not what God wanted.
Right.
You
had and to be honest. This is that same thing I say. To have the Shangri-La, you got to go through the crap to get there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because you can't appreciate the green grass unless you go through some weeds, and that's what you did. You went through a few weeds to get to the green grass.
That folk that says the grass is green over there.
Yeah,
the grass is green with you. You just need to take care of
You're
it.
sitting in a pretty green field half the time. You just don't realize it. Yeah.
I talk to my guys about in our business, a lot of people jump all over the place, okay? And yes, I switched companies throughout the years, but it was because of necessity, not because 100% was a horrible place. Well, I can say one that was kind of bad, but,
Sure.
It was not really 100% the
Absolutely.
place itself. But in the end of the day, folks, is what we can offer and what can give you is the main thing that I've been talking about.
And
And I don't set the interest rate. My team doesn't set the interest rate. It's yourself that set up where you are capable and what you qualify for.
You didn't make the rules of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You're just really good at playing it.
We try to play with it.
and
try
that's
to
really
play.
what it is at the end of the
No,
day.
really.
It's
So-
just, and so this is what we're saying. If you're in that place, give Elliot a call, set up a time to meet with him or his team at Loan Depot here, and let's just talk. Let's start there.
Yeah, let's get
and
you
say,
going, you
and
know?
say, okay, what's your goals? What are you trying to do? Where are we at on that? Let's see what we can, because this is where the beauty of Loan Depot comes in. You get that personalized, sitting down with Elliot or one of his team members, but you get to sit and talk human stuff. You know, what your goals, what you're trying to do, and then he's got the power of the big boy, Loan Depot, behind it to move the needles that has the influence to do that. Whereas a small lending may not be able to offer interest rates or offer programs because whereas Loan Depot has got the best of both worlds. You've got the intimacy of a small company but you also have the power behind a big company.
And that folks, you may not think that that's important.
Right.
But throughout my whole journey,
yeah,
folks, it is important.
Absolutely. Yeah, you want to.
There's a reason, guys. My team and I talk about this. I got people offering me, you know, and a lot of people out there going to say, "Oh, but you're being dumb. Why you're not doing it?" Offer me double what I make right now. Okay. It's not about money all the time. Yes, we do have a career. We do come to work because to make money.
Well,
but what I mean is, when other people are offering us all kinds of craziness, what are we sacrificing to get that?
Exactly.
Okay. My team and I got an awesome team, folks. Okay. And I've been seeing some things and things that we have gone through lately that it shows me that I have a really good team that I just need to keep feeding them and making them better. And they're making themselves better too as well as they go. Okay. I'm trying to build something here that nobody else has. Okay. And I know it sounds a little weird the way I'm saying it, but I mean this from the bottom of my heart. We are here to take care of you. Okay. If you have a problem and somebody else didn't take care of you before or whatever the situation is, one of my teams and I will take care of you.
Sure.
Okay.
Let's make this a positive experience.
Make it happen.
Yeah.
You know, and all my customers go for a good experience. That's the whole point.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, that's what you've got it. You've got that, and I'm that kind of the same philosophy. Is like, look, if you treat people right, the money will work itself out. Like, look, if I treat all my customers great and make them satisfied and happy, I will be rich. I will be fine. And guess what? You'll be sustainably rich because guess what? When they're done, when they're in this house 10 years, ready for the next one, they call Elliot again because they had a good experience. When the kids have all left and they're empty nesters and they want to downgrade, guess who they're calling? Elliot. You know, that's what it creates that. But it also creates where your own personal life. You know, it's sure a lot nicer when you're walking around grocery stores and Walmart and people saying hi to you than that guy screwed me. You know what I mean?
I know. Let me tell you something. Okay. All right. So, folks, I do have a great team. I really mean this, you know, and it's a work in progress to make it even better.
Yeah.
Okay. We already are the lender of choice of Roswell.
Right.
If you haven't heard from us, that's okay. Now you are, okay?
Yeah.
And like I said, we don't send people to fixing your credit somewhere else. We will help you ourselves.
Sure.
Don't wait on the race to get better to try to buy a house because you'll wait too long. And you may lose your term on the house that you wanted, okay? So don't be afraid of any of that stuff.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure that you are taken care of. You know, we make sure that you can afford the home that you're buying because the idea is for you to be there.
Yeah, once you got the house, you want to stay in it for a while.
Exactly.
And eventually get, furniture and things for it that makes the house nicer, you know?
You know? And maybe you get a little tiny house and then you later get your castle. You know, I mean,
the first house isn't always the dream house.
Exactly.
99.999% of the time it's not.
I said it all the time. It's like, don't look at it. This is the house forever. I mean, it could be.
Yeah.
It could be.
This is the beauty of being young. You're usually more accepting, 20s, whatever. You can live in squalor. Or not even squalor, but you know what I mean.
No,
You're
exactly.
like, I'm good with a lawn chair. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And people need to realize we are here to help you.
Yeah.
We don't have any other agenda.
Well, trust us.
But
We're
to
all
get
eating
you to
ramen
your
and
house.
Hot Pockets out of a
Of course.
microwave at some point. You know what I mean? With our lawn chair and TV, one TV, and that's it in the house. Yeah, we've done all that.
I hear you.
But please reach out to Elliot and Loan Depot here locally. You can call his cell direct at 719-237-4680. You can call the office here, which is right off Second there. What's the actual address?
Second and Richardson?
Yeah, 204 West 2nd Suite. I got to sit right here. I didn't ask him. Suite 5 there. But call the main office here. It's a 505 number. Don't let that alarm you. It'll ring here. 505-445-2070. Again, 505-445-2070. And if you're an online digital person, you can check out Elliot's website, and you can read all about Elliot and everything directly. That's www.loandepot.com/Elliot Rodriguez, all one word, Elliot with one L and a Z for Rodriguez at the end.
Correct.
And then you can also shoot an email, Elliot Rodriguez, again, spelled the same way, at loandepot.com.
Correct.
He'll get back to you pretty quick. But but if you want to check out his website, check out everything, loandepot.com/Elliot Rodriguez. Go there and you can kind of read history, all the.
Oh, there's a bunch of stuff in there, guys.
Yeah.
And there's programs, there's total bunch of information in there.
Absolutely. And then, of course, Elliot's got a Facebook page, too.
Yes, just look me up. And
shoot him up
you'll
if you see him on Facebook, shoot him a message, you'll be happy.
I always tell my customers, I can tell you a bunch of stuff and sell you, ice, like, if I was selling to an Eskimo ice,
Sure.
okay? But the reality is, go into my Facebook, that speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Okay? It tells you everything about what we do, okay?
So lots of pictures of families with their,
a bunch of people
with their getting ready to move into their homes.
Some didn't smile enough. Some
closing
smiled
on
a
that
lot.
house. Yeah, it's the best.
But it's all there. It's all there. I mean, from everything, from all our videos in recordings that Mike and I have done all these years, it's all in there.
Absolutely.
So,
you can see the history and see everything.
See when we started from scratch and getting to...
And do your research on Loan Depot, too. Go see their history and everything else. And I
It's a great
guarantee
company.
when you're done looking, you're probably saying, you know what, this is a solid company and this is a good one that I think is worthy of my business.
Yeah, but my team is there for you folks, okay? We are there to help you.
Yeah.
You have that itch to buy a house, don't be afraid of it.
Yeah.
We'll walk you through.
Yeah, got a
We'll
great
get you
team
there.
of. A matter of fact, we were just, of course, we met your newest loan officer
Kelly.
last month, and she's not quite as many years in the business as you, but not far from it.
Not
there's
at
a lot-
all.
So there's a lot of youth, but a lot of wisdom.
There's
also
a
in
lot
that
of
building,
stuff in there.
in
So,
that building too.
And folks, we are not known for not delivering. So I was going to lose the deal, and I ended with this. I was to lose the deal not because of me doing something wrong, because something that, was, on cover.
Sure.
Went around. So I was finally going to lose the deal. And I was like, finally, I guess after all these years, I'm not going to be able to deliver. And then I started saying, no, there's no way.
I will find a way.
I feel like Captain Kirk. There's no win scenario. There's always a way. And guess what? I'm about to fix it. So
He pulled a Kobayashi Maru.
No kidding.
That's nerd for you right there.
That's Star Trek right there. But the thing is this, guys. We deliver. This is what we are known for. I'm not known from the lender that doesn't take care of you, the lender that just drop you off, the lender that send you somewhere else. That's what we started, and we were talking about rates and about not sending you somewhere else to get fix your credit. We will help you, okay?
That's it.
You follow our lead, do what we ask you to do. Folks, I will give you my word. That's one thing I can do.
If I can't tell you yes now,
I can tell you yes tomorrow.
If you listen to me and work with me.
Exactly. We'll get it done for you guys, folks.
Absolutely. Thank you, Elliot. We'll see you next time here.
Yes, sir.
And stay, I guess, with the weather. Stay.
I know.
Stay cool.
We don't know where it's going. We don't know where it's
Watch
going.
out for them isolated sprinkles out there. So, all right, it's 10:01. We got to go. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico.